Start recording. Hey everybody, it is May 10th, 2026, and you are listening to the Super Gamecast. I'm your host, Bronson Fiore, joined by the dunkiest of dudes, Mr. Duncan Crabtree.
That's me. That's who
And
I am.
that is who you are. In spite of everything, you are still
Yeah.
here. Still you.
That's true. That's true.
And then our mod mommy wielder of the banhammer, Emily Hulslander.
Let's get this rolling, baby. Come on.
Yes. So it's been another wonderful week.
It has.
It sure has, buddy.
So, what'd you guys get up to? How's things going?
I think they're good. I mean, I was sick last week, and then you mentioned that you immediately caught the same variety of illness.
Yes,
dear.
that has been going around. A lot of people with gastrointestinal issues. It seems.
I got a good thing going right now. Don't fuck it up for me, boys.
You're 700 miles away. I think you'll be okay.
That's true. I think I'll be fine.
That's a bit of distance between us.
Yeah, so I think you're
And
fine.
you never know. You never know.
My entire work week was miserable.
Buddies.
That was basically, yeah. So anyway, other than that, though, I don't know. Not much going on for me. I played some video games, but not nearly as much as I wanted because I was spending all my time working, sleeping, or in the John. I did poison myself. I did poison myself on Wednesday though. So that was fun.
How?
So I'm not sure if you're aware of this. It is Employee Appreciation Week this past week.
No.
And they were giving out free food, and they gave out cookies, but they did not mention that the cookies had macadamia nuts.
Oh no.
Now I am a very fortunate boy in the sense that I don't have my throat swell up and die, but I do get very sick to my stomach and my chest becomes inflamed. So I went home about 30 minutes early, went home, vomited everywhere, and
rough go, buddy.
It was a bad time. That's the long and short of it. It was a bad time all around. So, I took a Zyrtec, nibbled on some food, watched a movie, and went to bed. So, it was woke up the next morning, my entire chest and stomach hurt, just like I'd been just headbutt in the chest by somebody. So, don't accidentally poison yourselves, everyone.
Yeah, don't do that.
For the love of God, please don't. You're important in this world. We don't need that.
Yep. So, but I got all better by Friday, and Friday night and Saturday I was able to do, guess what?
Absolutely nothing.
I was able to play a whole shit ton of video games. And those video games were generally priced at $20 to $70. But you know what? And let's get into our first story. Bank of America wants Grand Theft Auto 6 to be priced at... Oh, that's great. I love that. Thanks. There we
go. $80.
80 buckaroonies.
I mean, this would be good.
So what they're trying to say here is basically that video games should be $80. They're saying video games in general should be $80, and that the industry as a whole, consumers are not going to accept most games being $80 off rip, right?
I mean, we have seen
Sorry, go ahead.
We've seen 2 attempts at $80 in the past year.
Right.
One of them was flat out rejected, and then the other one was accepted, but only because it was part of... Most people got it via bundle with a system. Most people did not pay $80 for Mario Kart.
So what they're arguing isn't actually that GTA 6 will sort of change the paradigm and allow people to sell games at $80. They're arguing that if GTA 6 isn't $80, nobody gets to make an $80 game.
I'm going to be real with everyone. I think even if GTA 6 does come out at $80, most other games will not be able to do it. I think you might be able to get that justification out of Call of Duty. I think you might be able to get that justification out of maybe the next CD Projekt Red game. But in general, no, I don't fucking think that most games can try. It's just, it is this wall that people are not willing to jump over. Or at least they.
I agree for sure. I think that it's a barrier of the barrier of price is pretty significant. People don't like increasing their game cost by 30%. But the bigger the thing they're saying here is that like people will now be able to do it. It's that if you release an $80 game and GTA 6 was $60, how could you possibly justify the price to time ratio, the quality to price ratio? This game is going to come out, and by most accounts it's going to be give you basically unlimited ridiculous amounts of content and be among the highest quality, most polished things released in a long time.
For $70.
If that's the case, if that comes out and then you put out like your next new IP, Sony, like, oh, this is a game where you shoot vampires, right? And it's like, listen, I'm sure it's a great game. I'm sure it's a great game, but is it? How could you justify it being $80 when GTA 6 is $60? Is the idea here?
And I think that a lot of gamers are very still working on that video, but a lot of gamers are not realistic about what games should cost. You like, everybody, you have to understand, if games kept like pace with inflation, games would be $130 right now.
And the very minimum.
In some countries they are. Some countries they are. Just not in the US. But and games also have more content than ever now, and they, obviously require more work, time, money to go into them. And over the years, they've been doing different things to make that money up in other ways. Digital deluxe editions, collector's editions, DLC, microtransactions, things of that nature. And I think that... and the thing that the industry doesn't, understand, I feel, is, just there's this mental barrier with modern players, like anyone who got into gaming at the PS2 era or later, where games are $50 to $70. Almost no one remembers the SNES era where there were some SNES carts and Genesis carts that were $90 to $100. Yo, that's not a thing that pops into most people's minds.
A game on a disc is $60.
Yes. Exactly, and or 70 now, because it's been 70 for the past 5 years. Everybody, I know, time flies when you're having fun. And I just think that 80 is going to happen. I just don't know when it's going to happen. I think that Grand Theft Auto doing it would be a first step to 80. I do think someone else can make the move to 80. I think if Madden or 2K or one of the big yearly franchises where people who just buy it no matter what make that move, I think that would be another green light. I don't necessarily think Grand Theft Auto is the end-all be-all to the move to $80. Might be the one who cuts it off right now. But, take that how you will. So, this is interesting. I know that they've been cagey about the price. I think it comes out at $70 personally.
Man, you're gonna make that video, and you're gonna be talking about comments that hate that video for the next year.
Oh yeah,
More than
no,
likely,
dude.
yeah.
I already realized I'm gonna be like, especially if that video gets any traction in any Reddit or anything. Like,
Yeah.
I'm literally gonna be like waking up, being like, like I'll have to make a segment on the podcast where we read this, like how people are wrong about the price of games and
I
what
will
makes.
gladly join in on that.
I'll still occasionally see like a guy on Twitter complaining about some like game dev or public figure in gaming who said this before and being like, well, what they say doesn't fucking matter because they made this stupid statement that games should cost more than they currently do.
And I'm just like, it's this like rejection of reality of that this shit is expensive to make and they don't and there are ways to make it more affordable, and it's like, well, Pragmata was $60. I'm like, yes, and it was a new IP and that helped it get to the 2 million mark. But when you're making something like Borderlands 4, 2 million copies ain't shit, and you need to charge 70 fucking dollars.
Yeah, I think my feelings on this is that if you really boil it all down, we end up getting to just like the caustic effects of markets on, making things and making them accessible to people. Because I don't like the idea of games costing more money. Obviously, I would like them to cost less money.
Yes.
And the reality of the matter is that every studio has to grow. You have to do it. You have to grow your company. You're oftentimes publicly traded, and if not, you're trying to be acquired by someone who is. Like you have to grow, and to grow, you have to be able to show that you're making money. And the demands for that over the lifetime of your company are going to slowly go up, uh, and it'll keep creeping up, and you have to make those numbers or else your company will die. It will be bought by Sony for pennies and then literally scrapped before they ever make another project again, right? Like,
Yeah, you
so
look like you're talking
everyone
about a
out
specific
here
studio.
everyone out here has to be making money on their games. And what they've done is they've decided, well, we don't want to raise the price of the game, but that doesn't mean we don't have to make more money. So let's find other ways to make money on it. And they're, increasing the prevalence of microtransactions. They're increasing the presence of DLC, the presence of digital deluxe editions, right? They're adding all these extra things that if you asked a dev who's making the piece of art, right, what they would want, they wouldn't want any of that. They would like you to play the game. And if they could make it $10, they would probably do that.
Well, and
Right?
and and this is the bounds of any commercial art of like the artists
Right.
just want you to see the cool thing, but
Yeah.
the reality is making cool things costs a lot of money.
And
Like,
so yeah, it's the situation where I'm like, yeah, fuck game development, like corporate that sets the price, right? Fuck those guys. I don't want the games to be $80. But also, the reality is that if the game isn't $80, it's still gonna be $80. Like, that
that as
money is
well.
gonna get made somewhere else.
Um,
They have to make a certain amount of money. The game's going to be $80 or it's going to be $70 or it'll be even less than that and it'll make up the money somewhere else, or the company will go under and then we won't have a person making the thing that we want made in the first place.
and you're like, well, have them go independent. It's like, oh, okay, so if you're in America, you don't get nationalized health insurance.
Right.
So that means
You get
they
really
either
screwed if you go independent. And
you're
also
kind of
indie's a hard space to be in.
yes.
Indie is full of people who never get their games properly discovered and just are fucked. Like, and it happens in the news cycle really frequently where a game will come out and it'll be like $40 or something, right?
Yeah.
It'll be like a smaller project by some studio, and then it'll just be a sudden hit. It'll be the sudden hit and it'll make a ton of money. Or an indie game will come out and it'll make crazy money, like, like a Stardew Valley, right?
Yeah.
And people will point to that and be like, see, you don't have to make these super priced, ridiculous games. But it's like you're talking about the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the 1%.
Well,
Like, it's just
think
not how it actually goes most of the time.
Think about how many games launch on Steam in a given week. And that's just Steam. That's not PSN. That's not PlayStation. That's like okay, new and trending, new releases, and let's popular new releases for the past week. And it's just like, dude, I'm already looking at like 50 fucking games. Not even scrolling that long. Like Checkers Kingdom, Surround Dead Poly Construction, Cyber UF2, Hand-Me-Downs. And it's, realistically, some of these are probably awesome. But I'm never...
I guarantee you that within the last year, one of your top 20 games of all time released, and you don't know anything about it. And you might never hear about it. Like, it's the nature of indie publishing is that it's just fucking hard to get noticed.
It's you legitimately need, if you are an indie developer and you're smart, you have to build an absolutely amazing demo or pitch and take it to take it to Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo and be like, "Hey, can you put us in the indie showcase?" Like that, or...
And even then, the indie showcase isn't huge. It's not, like, full of a crazy amount of games. You're probably not getting in there unless you have some kind of established relationship with somebody or have shown some kind of work that's already exciting. Like, you're probably going to itch.io and publishing your game to, like, nobody. And then, because even the process of getting on Steam is kind of like a thing.
It is and it isn't. It's like $100, and then you have to like meet certain checkboxes. Steam isn't that bad to get on, but like yes, but getting on like PSN or NSO or freaking
that is a huge process.
That is a huge process. Sorry, go ahead.
And the indie studios that get on like Xbox, right? In reality, that's like a company with people in it, right?
Yeah,
they're an indie studio, but like, you've got a whole team, and yeah, it's just the price expectation being so low right now, and the examples people point to justify it being so low. I think they misunderstand the reality of how difficult it is to be a dev. And that the reality of what's difficult for a small dev, as much as, we hate companies, but it applies to the companies too. Being a big dev means you have the same issues that it being a small dev has, and games turn out to be expensive to make and to take a long time, and you have people's salaries you need to get paid.
Yes, and and typically those are higher skill workers. They're underpaid because passion tax, but they're higher skilled workers.
They're underpaid, but they're still paid. You need a lot of them.
Yeah, like I recently played through Mixtape. That's an indie game. I'm going to talk more in the what we've been playing section. It's a fantastic title though. I absolutely enjoyed it. And those credits were not short, dude. And this is their second game. And I love their first game, The Artful Escape. Also not a short credits list for that game either. So, like, just it's a rough spot to be in all around. I do think that I do want to support independent developers, games like Ball Pit, games like Berserk Boy, games like Mixtape. However, like, yeah, it's a crab bucket, dude. So like to tell, and the realities of telling a independent, someone who works at Capcom, or more realistically, let's do a Western studio, EA or Activision. Yeah, just go work on an indie title. It's like, all right, cool. So, are you gonna pay for my life for the next 2 to 5 years? Like, is that
what's interesting to me though is
what?
that when you think about it, Japanese developers actually have like a pretty big advantage
Oh, they do.
when it
They
comes
absolutely do.
to game pricing.
Yes.
Because the cost of living in Japan is so much lower,
Mm-hmm.
and the salaries on average are so much lower that, like, yeah, they can you could price your game at 60. You can price your game at 50 or 40,
It's
right?
its salaries are lower and everything's like more affordable and cheaper and everything, combined with just the culture is inherently different because
Yeah.
like even independent developers in Japan, it's like, oh, I'm gonna go be independent or go work for a AA or some weird thing because I don't have to worry about losing my health insurance. I don't have to.
Like the work culture there is even like really conducive to making things that you can use for extra monetization.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of incentive around keeping yourself busy in Japanese work culture. They really want you to be doing something, even when there's kind of an understanding that you are done and you don't need to be working. And so there's a lot of people that just have to be in the office anyways, and they'll to keep yourself sane, you're going to be working on something, and then they go, oh hey, we have extra art assets, we have extra this, we have extra that, and they can they can put that into their monetization scheme.
Yeah, and I think that, and it's partially why it's a lot harder to do layoffs there. I think it's a big part of why you're seeing Japanese studios during this very turbulent time be a lot more stable. It's and you're seeing similar things out of European studios. European studios right now are generally just a lot more stable. It's the U.S. is where things are really rough right now overall. And then at the end of the day, people, contrary to popular belief, and I know it's hard to believe because I have trouble with it sometimes, you don't need video games to live. You can say, wait, like with the exception of Nintendo games and games that are like too big to fail, like Grand Theft Auto, most games go down in price within a year. Like, honestly, one of the best things you can do as a gamer who is trying to get the most bang for his buck and play games that are fantastic, which it is just wait, which that does bring us to our next news story.
Yeah.
God,
which
what
is 62% of hardcore players no longer buy full price games. Surveys suggest.
Yes.
That's me. That's me. I'm one of those.
I am not one of those most of the time. I have very much want to play the games as soon as they happen. Part of that is just habit. I like worked in the industry long enough to where like my brain is fucked up. It's like, well, you got to play it by release. So
I just don't think a lot of games come out nowadays that I'm like, I got to play on release. It's not that they don't at all, right? I bought Pocopia on release. I
waited to buy that game actually.
What else did I buy on release last year or this year?
Bought Fire Red. You bought the re-release of Fire Red.
Fire Red. Yeah, that I did buy on release.
Pokemon
ZA.
Yeah.
It's kind of a pattern here. It's really only Nintendo that's motivating me.
Well, Nintendo, you have the extra motivation of like their games don't drop in price, so you're like, well, fuck it, I might as well get it now.
It's like it's gonna cost the same anyways.
Yeah, it's not like I bought Pragmata and Resident Evil 9 on release, but like realistically, I could have waited to get Scott Pilgrim. Like that game will have it be on an indie sale. Like I had no reason to get that now. But you know, it is what it is. Anyway, so 62% of the most engaged players no longer buy full price releases, according to a new survey. According to Generations Play Report, developed by IGN Entertainment in association with Kantar and UC Berkeley, which says it is based on polling of thousands of, quote, highly committed consumers in the US and UK. 38% of millennials and 42% of Gen Z said they still buy full price games, but only 20% Gen X said they would. I think that's partially a priority shift as you just get older. Like, you're worrying about kids and your fucking house and whatnot. Like, that's not necessarily surprising if you're like 46 and up and you're like, I got this fucking teenager who's gonna be in college soon. I can't be buying video games. So the market has shifted. Consumers are full in terms of things to play, watch, and read. Plus, games have a habit of launching unfinished or need a patch or two. Which that goes back to the earlier topic we said, where it's just like buy games later. You also get the benefit of them being fixed a lot of the time. So, considering those two factors, the drive to rush out and purchase a game isn't there the way it used to be. The upside is games are living longer. It's not unusual for big games to sell for years and decades. There's a general shift to, although I am cautious of drawing too many conclusions here, a lot of buying and playing habits of older gamers might be due to the fact that they have less time and more money versus younger generations where the opposite is true. We'll see how it plays out over time. Before we get into the rest of the story, I do find that to be true. You know, I'm 35, middle of my career. I'm at a good spot. I definitely have more money to spend on games than I ever have, but I also have less time to enjoy them.
Yeah. It is the nature of it.
Like, legitimately, I am very much at a point in my life where a video game comes out and I can largely purchase it without thinking about it. Now, what I can't do is play it as much as I want without thinking about it like I could when I was in my 20s. You know, I remember, I very much distinctly remember when Halo Reach came out, and I was 19, I was almost 20, I was a month away from being 20, and we stayed up all night and played it. Like, me and 3 friends, and, like, we were up until, like, God, like, 7 in the morning, and, you know, yeah. So, yeah, that's, none of this surprised me. A couple of other things in the report, they indicate Gen X consumers prioritize Google search for discovering new games, while millennials favor YouTube, and Gen Z prioritizes social media.
Isn't YouTube social media?
I think YouTube is kind of its own thing. Especially if you're, like, I think it's, like, I consider YouTube to be different than, like, Twitter or TikTok.
It is pretty different. I mostly find games through YouTube, I think.
Yeah, YouTube and, like traditional websites, like Giant Bomb, for me. Like,
well, that's what's turned me into a guy that plays obscure little freak games, because I'll watch a lot of YouTubers that talk about obscure little freak games.
I mean, that's a good thing.
And that informs that taste.
I think for me, I get kind of a mix of everything, especially nowadays because I have a 45-minute commute each way. I'll be listening to the Jeff Gerstmann Show or the Bombcast, and they will play a lot of interesting indie stuff. That's how I found, God, what was the name of that shooter I played last year? Mirage Feathers, I think it was. It was basically Mirage Feathers. It was effectively a Sega Saturn on rails shooter that Jeff was talking about, and I was like, I fucking love shooters on the Saturn. I'm gonna check this out.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So yeah, I'd believe that. Gen X response said they favor single player games. Generation Z prefers multiplayer, almost the same degree, and millennials are evenly split.
Interesting.
That doesn't surprise me, because like if you were a Gen X gamer, you like online games didn't exist until you were like late 20s, realistically.
Yeah.
And then
less born into the ecosystem, whereas younger players such as myself have been playing multiplayer games their entire time they played video games. I was playing Halo 1 multiplayer before I could remember things. So
I am like in the middle there where like and I do feel the split. I like single and multiplayer games equally. I've been switching between Marathon and Pragmata a good chunk of the weekend. And
I'm different from my peers. I mostly like single player games.
Yeah, I think that I definitely see why millennials would be split. I know that if I had to choose, I do prefer single player, but I do think that I understand. And Gen Z doesn't surprise me at all. Just every title that comes out that's big for that generation, you think about like the big titles of Gen Z, your PUBG, your Fortnite, your Genshin, like they're all multiplayer or have multiplayer elements.
Yeah.
Gen X and millennials are more likely to return to games in order to complete or master them, while Gen Z are more motivated by customization or community content. See, this is.
I would say that's true of me.
See, I would say it's true of me as well. I give zero shits about customization to after base game and community content. I'm like, whatever. It's very rare.
Like customization and community content.
Yeah, it's very rare that I hop into community content.
In fact, I'll often get so into like customizing and building a character that I'll build them and be like, and I'm done with the game. I don't need to finish it.
Yeah. See, that's not me. I'm like, okay, let me make a guy that kind of looks like me. Okay, I can play the game now. You know, there are
I think the character's appearance isn't what matters for me, but I think it's like, gearing them, building them out, getting them cool looking armor.
I get that. I feel like World of Warcraft is the exception for that to me, where I do care. But like, I've been playing Diablo 4 with my girlfriend, and I'm gonna get more into the new expansion when we get to what we've been playing. But they put out a really cool looking thing in the shop, and I had a bunch of store credit from when I bought the last 2 expansions. I was like, oh cool, I can buy that. That armor set is going to be on that character for probably the next 3 expansions. Is what's gonna happen. That's just who I am. I like find one set of armor I like. I'm like, all right, cool. We done. Same thing with a build. Like, I've been running Whirlwind build since Diablo 4 launched. I don't even know it's good anymore. I just do it.
You do what you do.
So, yeah. Like, I think the last time I was really into a game for community content, it was, like, Mario Maker. Like, I really got super into Mario Maker and, like, making demon levels for friends and vice versa.
I love community content, as you can tell by all the mods to things I play.
Yes, I love. One thing I really appreciate having you on this show and whatnot is just like, I love hearing about this shit that I will probably never touch or touch for like 2 hours and never look at ever again.
I still gotta get you to play that Halo 1 mod with me.
I know, man. I know. And like, I used to be mod guy. Like, I played a lot of Halo 1 and Unreal Tournament 2004 mods. Like, I played a Halo 1 mod where it was, like, snowboarding. I played a Halo 1 mod back in the day where the guns fired warthogs at people. It was hilarious.
The mod I'm talking about has that, too.
I'm not surprised. Alright, consumption of game guides varies by generation. Gen X indexing higher on tips videos, millennials on map tools, and Gen Z on build guides. That's interesting. That's very weird.
I consume a lot of guide content in most games I play. Because I don't know. I feel like I think hard about a thing, and then I'm like, I'm missing something big picture. Then I usually will look at guides to be like, what do other people think about this? What are the other conclusions people are coming to?
I actually do line up with the millennial thing here, where a lot of the time I just need to feel like oh my god, where the hell is this thing? It's like, oh, it's there. Okay, great. Builds kind of vary. I find myself really making a build myself and doing pretty well, actually. Occasionally I will miss one small detail. Like in Diablo, I like was like I like built a really good build. I was like, something's a little wonky here, and I like one of the talents I chose would have been considered wrong by the standards of people who write guides. Right. But yeah. So and then next up, Gen X is highly skeptical of AI, trusting more brand recognition, being 38% less likely to use AI for discovery and 44% less likely to believe AI summaries are as good as human ones. That actually seems a little high, in my opinion. Yeah, and then furthermore, commenting on findings, Gen X comes from a point of midnight opening, full price games, console base. They want to get everything they possibly can, get as much juice out of that lemon as possible. Where Gen Z, who live in a world of platforms, games don't end, but social and community become a massive part of their DNA, so they want to be part of the community where they'll be able to say, I'm the most informed, I know most about this game. And they just completely ignore millennials in that little crossover there. Super. But I am actually, as I've gotten older, hate games that go on forever and ever and ever. There are some exceptions, but I literally want games to end. Not like video games as a whole, but like I want games to have an ending.
Yeah, I have gathered that of you.
Yeah, I know I come off as old man, but it's like they're already talking about sequels to Pragmata possibly, and I'm like, no, fucking no, stop it!
I finished it already. I don't need more.
It's like, give me something new, motherfucker. Like, stop it. Like, I'm a little more okay with sequels, but I have a friend who is deep in the gacha hole, and and like. He's like, yeah, I mostly play it for the story. Every 6 weeks I get a new story. And I'm like, then the story doesn't end. And at that point, what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
Would you want Lord of the Rings to never have an ending? Like fucking...
for some people, the answer to that is yes.
Then those people are fucking dumb! Holy shit! God! Let shit end!
Yeah, I agree.
God. Jesus.
I'm weirdly of two minds about this, because I think that crazy long media has a sort of like draw to it, I think, where it can do things that media that isn't quite that length can't. Right? I think you can develop forms of slowly built investment that you could not otherwise create. I think Final Fantasy XIV is an example of how you can get a story where you can get like really invested in stuff that you normally wouldn't care about in that genre.
That's
right?
A choice. That's a game to choose.
And mind you, I didn't finish that game, so that's why but I think that it did a great job of making you like its characters by having you spend a lot of time around them. Right? And there's an advantage to being the game that lasts 130 hours. But I don't want to play for 130 hours anymore.
I don't even mind if a game is long. I mind if a story is forever. Is the problem. Like Final Fantasy 14, I have 750 hours in that game, which by MMO standards isn't like crazy, but it's still a lot. And I have finished Endwalker. I'm halfway through Dawn Trail. I was current during all of Endwalker. And I'm gonna be real. A lot of that 750 hours, you could probably chop a third of that off with how much it repeats itself.
Yeah.
And still get the same effect. Like, for real. I think that, if anything, it would be beneficial to do that. I have this... And it's like the same thing with, like, the Warcraft story right now. I love World of Warcraft. Its story at this point, and granted part of this is because the current writers are significantly worse than the old writers, but it's just at this point where it's like, dude, this shit should have just ended at Legion story wise, or like, because this is getting ridiculous, you know, and it's. Yeah, it just you hit a wall. It's the same thing like that comic books have now. Like that, we're on what issue of Amazing Spider-Man are we on?
We're at a pretty advanced issue of Amazing Spider-Man, that's for sure.
Let's see. Okay, no, that's not. I meant the original, not the new one. Jesus fucking Christ. The fact that we have two. Yeah, we're on. Let's see. God, Google is worthless now. Truly worthless. Okay. Yeah, we're on like issue 1000 of the Amazing fucking Spider-Man. What more stories can you tell with this one version of fucking Spider-Man? What is left? Jesus.
I don't know. I just know that I think I developed this opinion particularly because of super long visual novels, long Chinese novels, and One Piece.
And that's the reason I will never watch One Piece.
I think that all of those things, in my experience, have accomplished stuff that it could not have accomplished without its length, and that media with less length is missing, and that there's kind of an experience there that you can really only get the one way.
So my response to that is, I do not feel like I am missing anything by, what are there, 1,200 episodes of One Piece now?
More or less.
Yeah, more or less.
There is no way not at least a fourth of that is filler and nonsense. There is no fucking way. The fact
anime,
that
for sure, the manga, no.
The fact that One Piece exists tells me that.
Yeah, but the manga is different.
The fact
I'm not talking about the anime. I've never seen the anime.
Okay, well, I've never watched or read, because of its length. I've never read or watched One Piece.
I'll say that I think that every arc has absolutely great content in the manga. From what I've experienced, I haven't run into anything that I'm like, this could be. I mean, you could almost certainly cut it down, right? You could certainly, anything that gets this long has tons of room for cut down, but there's all these. It's kind of composed of tons of small moments that make the character that you eventually become attached to, and that they wouldn't be the full version of who they are were it not for all the time you spent on the stuff that doesn't really matter.
So, and I think that is important. Having those small character building moments are important, but also, like, you can have too many, or you can repeat yourself too much, or there will be arcs that are the same. Like, I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan, right?
I'm not saying you can't have too many, and in fact, I would say that they almost certainly do have too many, but that you still couldn't achieve what they did achieve without making something that's crazy long.
Like Dragon Ball, like I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan. I just looked up Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Super, so the entire shebang is 575 episodes, right?
Yeah.
Now you can cut that down by 30 episodes almost immediately by condensing the first two arcs of Super into the films. You're probably better for it, in all honesty. And then when I watched Dragon Ball Z with my girlfriend recently, I chopped off probably about 25 episodes because it's just absolute garbage that you don't need to watch that wasn't in the manga and wasn't particularly good. And then Dragon Ball. Original Dragon Ball is actually paced pretty well, even if it does like its sweeping landscape shots a lot. Like that's for some reason it's really like, here, watch Goku ride a cloud over this area. You know, it's a big fan of that. But
it is a fan of that.
But I feel like I did not lose anything in doing that and cleaving that out. I mean, it's Dragon Ball Kai effect. Like,
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Kai is a significantly better watch, other than the music, than original Dragon Ball Z. Significantly
I think
better.
my personal best example is unfortunately one that nobody knows shit about. But I must use it, all right? So, my insanely long Chinese novel that I read, Reverend Insanity, okay? Reverend Insanity is 2,300 chapters long. And it for certain doesn't need to be that long, but it does need to be very long. So there is a 700 chapter long arc that people call the zombie arc, because during this whole period, our protagonist is a zombie. And it's really fucking annoying. I don't want him to be a zombie. I want him to do all this stuff, because being a zombie is very limiting. It's very bad to be a zombie. So there's this whole annoying period where you just want him to stop being a zombie. And you're just like, come on. When are you going to stop being a zombie? And unfortunately, every single fucking chapter of the zombie arc is 100% necessary. It's absolutely so necessary to establish, like, to really build up that frustration. That's the purpose of the zombie arc, because when you get to the Sovereign Immortal Fetus Goo arc and he becomes the leader of the Shadow Sect, that doesn't have anywhere near the impact it has if you didn't go through the zombie arc. But there's also arcs, like the entire arc in Shang Clan City, that is a huge 200 chapter long thing that the moment he becomes immortal is completely forgotten about, and you're like, why did he do all that? Why did he sit there and set that up for so long? Right? So, like, absolutely, a thing that long is full of filler that doesn't matter, but there's this thing you can do with being crazy long where you develop this kind of investment that you just can't create an equivalent to otherwise, because it is your proximity as a consumer that creates that investment. It's having spent so much time with it that makes the thing so impactful.
It's like Stockholm syndrome. Like, you're just fucking
Yes.
prisoner. God damn it! Like,
Exactly. No, that's kind of exactly it, because it's just it is it a better experience? I don't know. But what I could tell you is that I know for sure that I am having a different experience than any form of short media has ever given me with a lot of these kinds of super long media.
all right.
And there's just some value to that artistically.
I do think there's value in that, and there's attachment with that. The problem is like most places don't do it well when it runs that long.
Yeah.
Like
it's very difficult.
Like, I remember watching Inuyasha. That's not a short anime. It's like 180 episodes. I was just like, you could have cleaved off half of this, dude. You could have cleaved off half of this, like, no doubt.
Well, and how effective it is also going to be really different from consumer to consumer, right? Some people just don't get as impacted by those things as others.
I have found that I have a real sweet spot for media when it comes to time, and there are exceptions, as there are to any rule. Movies, it's about 2.5 hours is the sweet spot. 2.5 hours. 90 minutes, I feel like I don't get enough. Anything over 3 hours feels like too much. TV shows, it's about 60 episodes. Once again, there are exceptions, but 60 episodes, like, I love How I Met Your Mother, and that's like in the 200s, I think. And Dragon Ball, which is well over altogether 500. But generally, TV show, I felt like Breaking Bad at like 55. Perfect. A game, if it's not an RPG, 10 to 20 hours. If it is an RPG, 50 to 60. I love Persona 5. Persona 5 is one of my favorite games of the last console generation. It is an RPG I think everybody should play. It is without a doubt, one of the best things you could ever play. That game, and I am fast when it comes to JRPGs. So I damn well know most people this is a 100-hour game. It took me 75 hours to finish that game.
Yeah,
That's
I believe
base,
I
not
have
royal.
80 hours on my 2 playthroughs. I have 80 hours on each.
Yeah.
So
so
very long.
Yeah, and those are kind of like my sweet spots. I think that you can have a shorter game that I really love. Like Mixtape took me 3.5 hours, and I loved every minute of it. And on the other side of that, I really, I've really loved games like Persona 5 that are well over the 50, 60 hour mark. It's just same with over the 20-hour mark. But I find that when I play a game, if you get over 20 hours, I start to not get invested. I start to get disinvested unless your writing is just, or your gameplay loop is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Like absolutely incredible. Like Cyberpunk, I'm 46 hours in. The reason that I'm slowly keeping chugging along is the writing is incredible. It's absolutely
It is
incredible.
very well written.
So, but yeah, I don't know. That's something to consider. And as far as I'm not necessarily surprised about the pricing thing that we talked about earlier. I did. I am actually jealous of a lot of Gen Z people because this topic related to something I saw on LinkedIn regarding gaming habits, where the vast majority of people, Gen Z and younger, like have they will have like one or two big games that they play all the time. Fortnite, Genshin, Rocket League, and then they will go sometimes play a, for lack of a better term, friend slop game with their homies, and that's their entire.
Well, I was just thinking, like, I do that a lot. I usually have a game that I am playing, but it's not like this is my go-to game that I'm playing. Right? I'll have like a binge where I'm playing basically one game over and over again for like a month. And then anytime I'm playing something else, it's friend slap. It's like, oh, okay. And then my buddies want me to get on and do this.
See, I think that's different because you're doing stuff like Elden Ring or Pocopia or like that's different than what I'm talking about. This person, it's like these people have played Rocket League
They
for
have
4 years,
League.
and they lock in to Fortnite or Rocket League or whatever the fuck, and that's just what they roll with and rock with.
They have a default gaming experience. They have, this is playing video games, and then they hop on Call of Duty.
Yes, and I'm like, I think that person is inherently less enriched than I am by games for sure.
I think artistically, sure, they get less.
But I also am kind of fucking jealous about the money and the time and the ease that it is for them, because like when I sit down on Steam, it's just like, oh man, like what I really want to invest in today, and what am I gonna get the most out of, and like, the amount of money spent, right? Like it's like I'm actively kind of jealous, like the people who are just like, yep, all I do is play Diablo. I'm like, you lucky bitch.
Those people spend surprisingly large amounts of money on games still.
Yeah, on the microtransaction end of it. Yeah. Like that's the part of it that, but like, man, even then, like it's just, oh. Anyway, so yeah, and I also am like jealous of the fact that they don't get bored with it. Like even games that I love. Like I love World of Warcraft, right? World of Warcraft is one of my favorite games ever. I played World of Warcraft for 6 weeks straight when the season started, and I've barely touched it since because I just got burnt out and bored. And it's one of my favorite games of all time, but I crave the variety. Like when I am done with Pragmata, I'm probably never going to want to touch it again, and I'm going to go on to like back to Pocopia, and like I'll eventually burn out of Pocopia once I hit like the 40, 50 hour mark. I'm not going to want to touch it again. I just have this like need to have the variety.
I feel that I've had a shorter like focus time than historically lately. I for RuneScape leagues, I played it for 3 weeks, and then I just was burnt and I stopped.
Like,
so I totally get that feeling.
like the only thing that can consistently nab me is fighting games, and I think there's two reasons for that. One is they're short burst, right? Like they're like an hour, 2 hours. Like with the exception of going to a tournament or a local, you're never playing for more than an hour or two. And then two is the fact that they always feel different because your opponent is your opponent.
Right.
It's, you human them out. But even then, like I'll get burnt out on Street Fighter. Like I'll be like, oh fuck, I'm not in the mood to fucking grind rank tonight, and just go F off. Same thing with like I'm a huge Dragon Ball FighterZ fan. I have between all three versions I've played, I have probably 1,000 hours at this point. And even then, I will be just like, I'm good. I think I'm gonna go play something else for now. So yeah, I think like I'm like kind of jealous of that aspect too. Anyway, we need to get to other stories. We got other shit going on.
We have spent a crazy amount of time on this story, given how many stories we have.
Yes, don't worry. Well, I mean, yeah, some of these stories will go quick though. Like this next one. Legendary Nintendo designer Takahashi Tezuka is set to retire. Tezuka, one of Nintendo's most high-profile and longest-serving developers, will retire from the company later this year. A career spanning over more than 4 decades, Tezuka has served as a designer, director, and producer on some of Nintendo's best-known games, including key titles in the Mario and Zelda series. The company note he is set for retirement on June 26th. He had initially joined the company as a part-time employee in 1984 when he worked on Punch-Out while still at university. Man, your first game is Punch-Out? That's
pretty iconic.
Way to start with just an absolute banger. Like the first
to you, bud.
The first game that I ever made was Punch-Out. Like, wow.
To be fair, a lot of the early Nintendo people are people that are like, oh yeah, I started making games on insert most iconic thing in its field.
Right? Like, it's just like I would love for Miyamoto to, like, go, like, do an interview, just like, oh yeah, no, what did you start making games on? It's like, oh, my first games were Donkey Kong, Mario, and Zelda. Like,
yeah.
What? He quickly rose through Nintendo's ranks, frequently collaborating with Mario creator Shigeru Miyamoto. Within a year, Tezuka was serving as assistant director and designer on the original Super Mario Brothers. Oh yeah, the most iconic video game ever made. Sure.
Yeah.
A year later, he directed the first Zelda game before helming Mario Bros. 3 and Mario World. And the latter which he saw help create the character of Yoshi. He worked on Mario 64, Pikmin, and Animal Crossing. More recently, he was stewarded some of Nintendo's biggest as a producer or production supervisor on Mario Maker, Mario 3D World, and Breath of the Wild. Bro.
Yeah, what? Legendary developer. And yeah, you gotta retire at some point. The guy's been working in video games for forever.
Yep, he's gonna be 65. Will follow recent departures of several other long-term staff members who've been employed by Nintendo since the earliest days of game development, include Mario Kart veteran Hideki Kono and Metroid Prime boss Kensuke Tanabe, who left the company following the launch of Metroid Prime 4. Nintendo's development talisman Miyamoto, now 73, is something of an exception to the company's typical retirement age, though even he has taken a far less hands-on approach over recent years, with a creative role now focused on Nintendo's push into movies and theme parks. As part of the same financial briefing, Nintendo's confirmed, we'll get into that in a sec. We kind of said this when the Switch 2 came out. This is going to be the last generation for a lot of the big names at Nintendo. Like, a lot of the big guys who set up these amazing games and franchises. Like, they are old. Those dudes are at the youngest in their late 50s. Mm-hmm. So, it's not necessarily surprising. And I do think that... I recently read a book on how that game, or how that studio operates internally. And I do think the future is in good hands. Because they have a real good habit of, getting the next generation involved and making sure they retain their talent. I think they have, like, their turnover rate is, like, 3%. It's, like, crazy low. Yeah, so, this dude's earned his retirement.
Yeah, happy trails, buddy.
But it comes at a maybe tumultuous time for Nintendo. Nintendo confirms the Switch 2 price is going up to 500 buckaroos.
It was gonna happen eventually, boys. It was gonna happen.
We've only talked almost every single week about how the Switch 2 is probably gonna have to go up in price eventually.
Yeah.
And hey, it turns out.
It did. So this is kind of interesting though. So it's going up in United States, Europe, Canada, and Japan. However, they are delaying it till September 1st. So it is pushed out. They're only doing a $50 increase across the board. So everyone's $50 increase, or the equivalent to $50 US. Which
if you're Japan and Europe,
it's like Canada. 30 euros or whatever Canadian fund
however
bucks
much
have.
yen for Japan.
However many dollary dues or loonies and toonies, whatever the Canadians have.
Yeah, they always get like weirdly specific exchange increases in Japan because they market exactly to the dollar, and so it's like, oh, it's increasing by 6,328 yen.
Yes, and Japan also is seeing a price increase for their region-only console. So that's a thing that's happening because they have the region-locked units that are cheaper. The vibe I get from this is Nintendo really didn't want to do it. They really 100%. Didn't want.
I mean, they're the last of the group. We talk every time about. I talk every time about how I think that for this console generation, Nintendo is kind of ridiculously well positioned with their pricing. And I think what they were basically doing is they're going, okay, this is like an unreal advantage that we have, being the cheapest and the only one out for the next generation of consoles. So like, they're just sort of like, all right, let's hold the line as long as we humanly possible to keep us at this low price so that we can keep this advantage running as much as we can, and really just like take as much of the video game market as feasibly possible. And I think they've done that, and I think they they ran out of road, they ran out of space to be able to hold that 400 price, the 450 price.
I think that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I mean, that was it, right? It is that they inevitably had to do this, and I don't think they're dissatisfied with how long it lasted at all. I think they've I think they're like,
held
wow,
off
great.
long enough.
We'll get into this more later, but they're almost at 20 million units in under a year. That's real crazy.
Crazy.
That's bonkers.
But we'll get into that in a minute. I think that Nintendo didn't want to do this, but apparently the loss on the console at this point, because of the oil stuff and the RAM stuff, got just way too much, along with investors being really pissed off that the loss was so much now, that they felt they had to. So they are begrudgingly doing it, and they're only doing a $50 increase. It's not like Microsoft that did 150, or Sony, which started with a 50 and then added another 100. It's only 50, and I don't know why they're post-dating it. Maybe it's just to give people who really want one a chance to get it at the lower price. Whatever it is, but
I mean, you give yourself a little sales boost.
Yeah.
Because this is probably not a decision where it's like, they're probably in a period where they still have a little bit of stock that they can sell at the current price. And, if they could take this opportunity of like, well, we know we're going to have to increase our prices. Let's announce the increase and then push people to purchase what we have, which is at their current acceptable loss rate. Whereas the next major grouping of Switches that they put out to retailers are probably going to be at a much higher loss rate. right? So
Yeah.
they're kind of like, all right, let's blast through our stock. Let's take as much advantage of this as we can for sales, and then they've accomplished their goal. They've taken over the consumer market for the entire next generation of
Yeah.
consoles, right?
And
Everybody will already have a Switch, and by the time that the next Xbox, the next PlayStation come out, everybody's going to be looking at it and be like, well, is it that much better? Do I need it over my Switch? I think the really big priority for Nintendo might be is like, okay, how do we get people's forever games on the Switch? Is I
they're
think gonna
starting.
be
They did
yeah.
the upgrade to Fortnite. They've done the upgrade to
Yeah,
Overwatch.
exactly.
They
I think that they are, they're gonna be looking like, all right, how do we get people playing Rocket League? How do we get people playing Call of Duty? Like, is that even feasible? And in some cases, the answer is gonna be no, because obviously the other retailers, the other companies know they don't want their forever games to be on the Switch. They want people to buy an Xbox because that's the best place to play their Call of Duty.
yeah, but I think I'm gonna get into this more later, but I think Microsoft is, dude, just stick a fork in that company. Oh, there's a news story later that's very short, but it's indicative of a broader issue with Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this was a very begrudging move, and I especially considering how much less aggressive it was than its two competitors in regards to this, and how much like they're just like, fuck, fine. I really do wish they could have made it through the holiday season though. In terms of like, hey, we're gonna ride this out through one more Christmas, and then sorry, if you want to play Pokemon, it's going to be more expensive now. I do think there are some things they could do to mitigate this, though, like start just doing bundles that are, just kick a game with it.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes. Hey, everybody, though, you have till September 1st to get a Switch 2 for the lower cost, if you want one. And I would recommend one. It's a good console. It's good. It's got good stuff on it.
I wonder if part of this is also that they think that the holiday season, increasing consumer tolerance,
that's fair,
will help them sort of get away with their price increase.
I do think the holiday season will definitely help with that, and I also think that they have something lined up for the holiday. I think they are really going to be betting on that Ocarina of Time remake to sell big numbers, and I also think that
I think it will too. I got people at work talking about the Ocarina of Time remake, and we haven't even seen anything about it.
Right.
So like I think it's probably gonna go well.
Like I think there's that, and I think it's the fact that because they did it every freaking year with the Switch 1, I think we're gonna see a $500 Mario Kart bundle come back. I know it got discontinued at the beginning of this year. We are absolutely going to see those Mario Kart bundles come back for Christmas. There is no way we don't. I'm sorry, like it's just not happening.
It's pretty likely.
Speaking of this forecast, though, so they've sold 19.86 million units from launch to March 31st. So in what would it be, 9 months? Dude, that's crazy. That is objectively nuts. 20, almost 20 million units in 9 months. What the fuck? Alright, anyway.
So nuts. Yeah, that thing is on track to be the best-selling console of all time.
Like
it's crazy. And Xbox and Sony are going to be going in and they're going to be going, well, we basically just have to constantly market all of our stuff now as being like, this gives you a next generation experience.
It's so shiny. The graphics are so shiny.
Because it's the only thing they have. It's the only thing. They have exclusives, and Microsoft doesn't have exclusives, but they have exclusives and they have power. That's all they're gonna have over Nintendo, and that's a fucking horrible position to be in.
It's like, here's our $900 PlayStation 6. Enjoy it with Spider-Man 3. Though I did love those Spider-Man games so much, I would probably pay $900 to play Spider-Man 3. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a fucking rough position to be in, and I think I weirdly think it's actually gonna end up bad for video games. I think
yes.
Like investor confidence in games as a field is gonna go way down when Sony and Xbox both have like a horrible year during the next console launch season. And that's gonna happen, and it's gonna suck for a lot of people making video games.
I think that like investors are always in this really weird place with Nintendo, because Nintendo behaves like a company that's trying to make money and not try and get investors to invest. It's this very weird.
It's like that picture people always show of like why is Steam so successful, and it's like we put a new widget on the store front, and then it's just every single other creator with a shotgun in their mouth blowing their own heads off. You're like, what's so successful about this strategy in comparison to the rest of the market?
It's just like Anthony and I talked about this earlier this week, where we were like, Nintendo has put out 1 to 2 games every single month this year. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. Like,
they have been really active.
It's like, the video game company makes good video games. What a weird strategy. Concept.
It's like why is the Epic Game Store so unable to pull market share from Steam? Why is Steam this pseudo monopoly? And then you look at the Epic Game Store and there's no fucking store cart. Like what? What are you talking about?
I think they fixed that. I think they did add a cart.
They did. They have fixed that. They have fixed that, but the fact that it was ever a consideration.
The fact that
ridiculous.
I remember they had their first big sale, right? I remember the Epic Games Store had their first big sale, and they had a couple of games that were exclusive to the store that I wanted. So I went and I went to go down, see it to like. So I added Crisis Remastered to my cart. This is when it was exclusive. Everybody, I know it's on Steam now. And so I proceed to. So it's like, oh, okay, well, this is fine, I guess. And then I go to add some other game that was also exclusive, and it proceeded to not work at all. And I was like, what? What do you mean you don't have a cart?
Steam isn't even without major problems, right? Like,
no!
Every fucking PC I've ever had has run the storefront and community pages like absolute shit. Like, there are things you could do better than Steam. It's just that every single competitor they've ever had has decided they are too busy putting a shotgun in their mouth and blowing their own heads off.
It's
to do any of that.
It's really insane. Like, it's, like I go on to Epic, it's like, well, cool, I guess I'll go get my free games. I think the most I ever used the Epic Game Store was during COVID, when they gave Grand Theft Auto away. And then the second that Grand Theft Auto went for sale on Steam, I ended up just buying it on Steam.
You know how fucking simple and effective a Steam community page is?
Very.
Why the fuck does literally every platform not have one? Like, why is there no pseudo social media surrounding your games on your platform? It'd just be so easy to do, and it's such an easy way for people to be able to engage with the game and be on your platform.
You know what's really funny about the Epic Game Store as well? Like, I have it installed on my computer for literally one game.
Yeah.
I have it installed on my computer, so if I want to play Alan Wake 2, because Epic was the publisher on that, so it's just it's just a prison for Alan Wake for me.
Yeah, and again, fucking Steam could be doing tons of stuff better too. Fandom could be obliterated as a company overnight by Steam if they just added some kind of wiki to Steam as a feature.
Yes.
It'd be an incredibly useful feature that everyone would use, and it would take a multi-billion-dollar company and wipe them off the map overnight.
Dude, there's a lot of shit Steam could do and then there's like stuff in terms of moderation, in terms of cutting down on fucking gambling. Like there's a lot of stuff Steam could do better, but the core it's, you know, and you could say the same thing about Nintendo. Like I think that they're a little overzealous with their lawsuits. I think some of their more they have some really weird initiatives that like turns out. So like Nintendo fought voice chat forever. They fought it forever. Like it was on the DS, but you had to use friend codes, and same with the Wii. And then it was on the Wii U, but only for specific games. And then on the Switch, you had to use a phone app. And now it's built into the system with a button, but instead of using like a third-party client or something or Discord, they built their own internal Discord, and it works well. Like it's not bad, but
its game streaming isn't great, but you know it's there.
It's there. They built internal Discord, and I'm just like sitting here and like, okay, that's you know, you did it. You made a solution. Most people would rather have you hook into Discord, but on the other side of that, the people who are really involved in the Nintendo ecosystem, they use it because I'm in I'm in the Nintendo Pals Discord, and they're like they put out those like avatars that are just the Nintendo voice chat icons. And I was like, this is really funny, but who actually uses Nintendo voice chat? And I had like 12 people being, oh no, I use it. Me and my friends use it all the time. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So, you know, like there are people engaged in that ecosystem that do use it. But yeah, so due to the increase in price though, which this is, I don't know how investors, this makes any sense. You scream for them to increase the price, but then they lower their forecast because they're increasing the price, so stock goes down.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Anyways, if Steam puts a bullet in the head of fandom, they can have my firstborn child. I hate that company.
I give fandom a little credit for letting Giant Bomb go independent. That's the nicest thing I'm willing to say about fandom.
Yeah, that's the only nice thing that could even theoretically be said about them, because they exclusively do evil and horror upon anyone to whom they stumble.
I will say the only reason I feel fandom did that is because a million people, ex-Giant Bomb and current Giant Bomb fans, went into all their wikis, all their forums, their employees on LinkedIn, and basically
they're basically harassed into it.
Yeah, they're like just, yeah, no, it was real bad. So
there's a great video by Mossbag, who is a guy that makes Hollow Knight lore videos, but he just had to, basically, he was kind of forced by circumstance to make a video on fandom because of how specifically caustic they were to the Hollow Knight community. That is just like, yeah, this company's evil and horrible and has gone around causing extreme difficulties for tons and tons of communities. It's like their entire business model is making barely usable wikis and trying to destroy any community effort to make a wiki that isn't through them.
Right. And yeah. And then they don't know how to do literally anything else because we got a lot of news out of them from when all the Giant Bomb stuff went down. And basically it's like they own GameSpot and a couple other properties like that, and they're not willing to grow them in any way that makes sense. And they're just like, you should be a video, you know, like they just don't understand what they have purchased. That's really unfortunate. Anyway.
But so, the next story.
Well, hold on. I want to wrap this one up. So I have a little more. So they're cutting the forecast down to 16.5 million units because of the price increase.
Yeah, that was an interesting part of the story. there's a quote there at the bottom that it's uncommon for companies to be reducing their forecast in year 2 for sales. Normally it's increasing for console sales. It has historically done so for like every console, and it is crazy the market that we live in, that Nintendo's like, all right, and we are reducing our year 2 sales forecast.
It's because, and the thing is, though, is they're reducing it because they had to increase price, but they increased price due to investor pressure. But now the investors are upset that they're reducing their forecast. What the fuck? Like,
it is crazy.
It's like their train of logic doesn't make any fucking sense. It's like, okay, you don't make enough money on each unit sales, we're angry. Okay, we're going to increase the price, but that means we're going to have to slash our forecast because not as many people are going to be willing to buy one. Oh, we're angry that you're not going to sell as much. Well, of course we're not going to sell as much. We had to increase the price.
It's just really unprecedented times for console sales, I feel like. I mean, when else has generation run into anything close to the circumstances that they're running into now with hardware scarcity?
It's like hardware scarcity, and like the pricing is just, even adjusted for inflation, it's kind of crazy. Granted, we're still not as bad as a Neo Geo adjusted for inflation. If we hit that point, that's when I'm worried.
It's just such a weird perfect storm to fuck over video game like companies, and specifically video game hardware companies with, the oil pricing and all that. Like, everything is set up to make it difficult to manufacture and distribute physical anything within video games. And like, yeah, I mean, again, it just brings me to how fucking unbelievably well positioned Nintendo is. It is, I think they are winning this console generation to a level that no other console has ever won any generation. I think it might end up, because we don't know, because the consoles aren't out, right? We don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know when Helix or PS6 is going to be out, but yes.
But we could run into such titanic flops from Microsoft and Sony with the insane pricing that it might be the most dominant period for a single hardware manufacturer in video games ever.
So do you think it will be more dominant in the PS2? Because I want to remind everyone, the PS2...
Yeah, the PS2 is really successful.
The PS2, for those of you who don't know, sold 160 million units, though when the generation ended, it was like 156. They pulled some additional units out of their ass somewhere. And the original Xbox and GameCube sold a combined 42 million. So...
yeah, quadrupling the collective sales of all of your competition is pretty crazy. I'm saying it's totally possible to happen.
That'd be real nuts.
It's nuts. But if you look at the conditions of the market, it's like, if it doesn't happen here, it can't ever happen again.
So there is a very real chance that we're looking at $1,000 plus Xbox. And
$1,000 Xbox. You've got half the price for the increased price for your competitor.
And we are looking at... So PlayStation's the one we don't know, because like the rumors are all weird, because supposedly they're going to be 3 units for PlayStation. So they're going to have a hybrid, like a Switch, that's basically a PS4 Pro portable. So it's basically a Switch, but for PlayStation. And then they're going to have what is the real PlayStation 6, which is, that thing will probably end up being $900 or more. And then you're going to have their Series S equivalent, which, okay. And I'm saying that, I'm like, so to get the real PlayStation 6... considering a PS5 Pro is $900, that thing has to be at least as much as a PS5 Pro, if not more. Like $1,000. It also might be $1,000.
Yeah.
Anyway, some sales notes for Switch 2 games. Mario Kart World, 14.7 million units. Donkey Kong Bonanza 4.52 million. Pokemon Legends ZA 39 or 3.94 on just Switch 2. Pokopia, which at the time of these numbers was not even a month old, 2.41 million, and Kirby Air Riders 1.87.
I mean, we've been seeing Switch 2 numbers almost be on track with PlayStation 2 numbers during like its equivalent period in its lifespan, right?
Yeah.
I think we're going into a period where especially American consumers, but also in general global consumers are becoming more price sensitive because of economic difficulties, right? We're coming into a period where developers are having more experience working on weaker software because of a long tail end of a prior console generation, right? Which means more developers are going to be capable of making games on the weaker hardware of the Switch 2, which means more games are coming out for the Switch 2 than probably did for the Switch. And so, the other consoles are losing their advantage of power because power is becoming less relevant to developers. The technology around creating games has gotten so advanced that it's really difficult to find new ground that needs that power now. That consumers really care about, and so fewer games are going to be coming out hinging on having such advanced technology that they look so much better than their competitors. So Switch 2 is well positioned to have most of the very successful titles come out on Switch 2. And like fucking that is a ton of advantages. The biggest detriment that the Switch 2 I think is going to have coming into the next console generation is that it's not going to be a place you can play GTA 6.
Which that is a big deal, mind you. That is a big deal. That's
But I don't think it's enough to make it for the other consoles. I think that GTA 6 can still be plenty successful with the entire shared user base of PC, console, and PC, PS6, and Xbox Helix. Right? I think that that's
GTA
going to be
6
enough.
is. And the thing is, though, is like I feel like we're gonna have a really weird, long cross generation tail of like, dude, people are gonna ride their PS5s into the fucking ground, especially.
Exactly. That's also gonna be the case, and I think that, and GTA 6 is gonna play on them.
Yep. So yeah, there's.
Yeah, but you see my thesis.
Yes.
They're the best positioned a company may ever have been. The PS2 was kind of a freak occurrence.
That was.
It was.
The PS2 was in a very similar case where, like, the PS2 actually had an advantage the Switch didn't have of the DVD player and the being powerful enough.
It was in this freak position where it also got to serve as, like, super useful to non-gamers, which meant that there was this, like, huge benefit to its like sales proposition to tons of different consumers. Specifically, they had the situation where parents were like, well, I need a DVD player, because it just happened to be at a time that everybody needed a good DVD player. Then their kids wanted video games. There was this huge demand from children, and they're go, oh, I could kill two birds with one stone. And so, it was well positioned to be like the I think it was the best-selling DVD player ever. Right?
Yes.
It's just this thing where it's like, it had a niche position. And I think Nintendo's coming on that.
And your three primary competitors at the time were shooting themselves in the foot. Like Dreamcast was Dreamcasting, and arguably too good for this world. And then Nintendo was ignoring the fact DVDs existed. They're like, we have optical media. And it's like, optical media wasn't the entire point, dude. Yeah. And then Xbox was just new. And then so yeah, PS2 and PS2 was out earlier than the GameCube and the Xbox by a full year, and it was coming off the momentum of the PS1, similarly how the Switch is coming off the momentum of the Switch 1.
I think the biggest part is that it was out a year ahead of time.
Yeah, that was a huge part. I mean, and
the market is such a ridiculous advantage that I think that's really what cinched it, because I think that it had a knock-on effect where all of those other advantages were exacerbated by not having to outmaneuver other people. Having to outmaneuver other people meant that let consumers notice the other great reasons to buy a PS2.
I do think that the momentum of PS1 helped as well, because the Dreamcast was out a full year before the PS2.
And
it was out a full year.
You know what had a ton of momentum? The Switch 1.
Yes, but like
that was a money printer.
Yeah, like versus the Saturn, which had no momentum, which led to like, and a lot of people were just like, "I'm gonna wait for the PS2." You know, like that was the mindset.
They were in the situation where they had a ton of consumer confidence from being really successful the prior generation, not ridiculously overly successful in comparison to their competitors, right? The PS1, while great, while very successful, it didn't like nuclear bomb everybody like the PS2 did.
It 3x'd the 64. So I mean, it's still
that's true.
It was still like meaningfully ahead. It was just
and I would say the Switch 1 is also meaningfully ahead of its other competitors.
Yeah, it's I want to say it's 30 million units ahead of the PS4.
Right, and that means that going into the Switch 2, and this is something I've heard, even anecdotally from people in my life, is that people are really confident in Nintendo. They're really confident in Nintendo just making good stuff, right?
Yeah,
like people talk about Nintendo's releases now like they used to talk about Blizzard's.
Yeah.
And like everyone had a Switch 1, right? Like even not super invested in gaming people. And so, the Switch 2 comes around and like everybody knows that it's at least okay because the Switch was great. The Switch was great, so they know, well, it's going to be better than my Switch and basically the same. And the moment a lot of, like big major exclusives are coming out, like and their kids are going to want like the next generation, I think the Switch 2 is now I think there's a really easy way to fuck it up, and that's by not having any reason to get a Switch 2 over a Switch 1.
Yes, which they're already handling. Like, there's already exclusive games. They're already.
I just don't think there's enough yet. I've known a lot of people, I particularly among my coworkers, I'd say there's a lot of people that aren't buying Switch 2s specifically because they're just like, yeah, but like, my kids, they can still play their Switch 1. All the games that really matter for them right now are out on Switch 1. But that's changing. It's changing because Mario Kart and Donkey Kong were big draws. I saw 2 people that are parents that don't play video games that bought Switch 2s because they're like, well, my kids love Donkey Kong and we really liked the Mario movie, and it stuff like that.
One of my girlfriend's friends doesn't have a Switch 2 yet, and she's like, yeah, we're looking at getting one because of Pacopia. It's just money, right now. But and then you look ahead to next year, it's like we're getting a new Pokemon, we're getting a Zelda remake at the end of the year probably, and it's there.
I think that could cause this crazy effect where it could theoretically soar to the heights of the PS2, and that's really hard to do. It's really hard to be as successful as the PS2. The PS2 was unreasonably successful.
Well, especially because if you look at the current state of the market, the thing is like on the one hand, I wouldn't mind Nintendo getting wildly successful just as a benchmark for the rest of the industry.
I forgot even the most important thing I'm picking. Both Sony and Xbox are talking up AI as a big part of their future strategy, a huge part of their future strategy, especially for the release of the next set of consoles. They've both brought it up, and if AI has any kind of crash, holy fuck, are they screwed?
Yeah, no.
Both of those companies have put crazy money to AI, and Nintendo is the only one that has it.
Well, and they like Nintendo's the only console that isn't gonna have an NPU, right? Like know that the next Xbox is going to have an NPU. I would be willing to bet the PS6 is going to have an NPU in it. Like,
yeah.
I have no doubt in my mind.
I think to clarify here, neural processing unit, right? Like,
Yeah, yes,
processors specifically meant to make AI run well.
Yes, like they're, but like they you know, as well as a regular processor, I imagine. But like, yes,
Yeah,
it's which those aren't cheap. Those will make prices more expensive, by the way. Yeah,
and they're doing that because they're confident that AI is going to be a big selling point in their consoles. And if it isn't, which a lot of things are suggesting, and consumers are not as friendly towards AI as they'd like them to be, all of a sudden they've got a massive inflation to their price that Nintendo doesn't have, that is a fucking gimmick feature that flops, and that is just gonna, that'd be just so devastating for them. And then Nintendo wouldn't have the problem, and it would just, it's
it,
just again such a major contributor to
it,
having stupid advantage
it
over
it's
everyone else in the market.
it's that meme, man. It's just them just standing
It's just
there and a
everybody
bunch of
shooting themselves in
just,
the mouth.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it's this, you know. And I had this conversation with Anthony recently of just like, I have found myself drawn to playing my Switch 2 a lot recently because it doesn't do anything to annoy me. It doesn't
Yeah.
advertise to me on the homepage. It doesn't have problems with a game crashing. It's like, I boot up Pocopia, Fire Red, Mario Tennis, and they just load and I play them. It's a nice change of pace.
I think, I really think this is gonna be the last console generation for Microsoft. I mean,
Yeah,
it's gonna go so much worse for them than Sony, that I think that, like, Sony is gonna become the straggling third in comparison to PC and Switch. I think that it's going to be great for PC because Steam provides such an easy platform for people to play games on. And I think that the costs becoming, like, not super far away from a really budget PC. If some company especially is able to provide, like, a really successful consumer, like, cheap gaming product, uh I don't see anybody that is well positioned to do it yet, but if it happens to happen, especially like if the Steam box for some reason becomes really successful,
the Steam machine, yeah,
yeah, the Steam machine, if that somehow becomes a surprise success, I think that the PC as a platform is going to become way more popular than it has historically. That Sony is going to be really hurt by that. That Xbox is going to be actually fully pushed out and become a publisher, and that yeah, and that Nintendo and Valve are going to be like the huge winners of the sort of next console generation, and Valve doing so without even being a console group.
So, out of curiosity, I'm decided to go on Best Buy and search what I would consider to be an above average gaming PC that is going to beat a PS5 Pro, right? Like that is what I'm looking at right now. And is also sized well, and I'm bundling a controller with it because a game console does come with a controller. You're looking at around $1,300, or actually no, $1,400.
That's just not that much more.
But on the other side, the thing is, it's not that much more. But I also think back to when I was like, really broke in college or high school.
Yeah, it's enough to make you make the decision. That's true.
Yeah, it's enough to make me go, I'll get a PlayStation. But like, it's still very much not as big as a gap as you would think.
I think it's just close enough that we might have enough people moving to PC that it hurts Microsoft specifically.
Oh yes, I think well, and the thing is looking at Microsoft's broader strategy of we're turning our console into a PC is so fucking stupid. I can't even describe it. Sony right now is very clear they are trying to return to Monkey, because notice the PC version of Ghost of Yotei has been quietly canceled. There's no word on Spider-Man 3 or Wolverine going to PC from any leaks. It's all very much all right, boys, we're winding it back.
because Microsoft is seeing that games make way more money when you publish them on other platforms. So I think that Sony is seeing this is going to be a fucking rough time, and we need every single incentive to buy our platform as possible.
Well,
right?
I mean,
like I think Sony might start during this next generation, especially start getting fucking mean about its exclusives.
Yeah, I do too. I think I would not be surprised if Sony went out. If I am Sony internally right now, I am going to every studio I have and a bunch of third parties and second parties and go, fuck whatever you're working on PS5. Forget that shit. Get to work on your PS6 game.
Yeah,
we want to.
Because they need something to compete with the immense exclusive library that Nintendo has. It's always been Nintendo's strategy to have, just crazy powerful exclusives carrying their consoles. I mean, as much as we're singing all these praises of the Switch 2 right now, it is like the least featured console.
Yeah.
like it's got the worst party system. It's got the worst like every part of it is a worse version of what Xbox and Sony already has.
Yeah, in terms of power, in terms of like media, like the only apps that work on it, the Switch 2 is particular is I think is Hulu.
Also, like, why the fuck is my Switch still asking me to add credit to my account and then making me purchase a thing? What the fuck are you doing that for? Just let me hit the buy button and then show me nothing in between me having the game and pressing the buy button. That's what you're supposed to do. I should see 0 screens.
I think the thing is though is I think they're doing that because to like make it more of a hurdle for kids. Because I have definitely heard the story from parents being like, yeah, my kid accidentally got on the PlayStation or the Steam account and bought like $20 of this thing.
Hey, that only happens when they're already on the fucking console.
Yeah,
that already happens when they're already there and they didn't fucking throw it away, did they?
Yeah,
but I do think it is that reason. I think that's absolutely their motivation, is that they want it to be parent friendly.
Yes.
It's just I think it's working way against them. I think that we've talked before, we call them the dinosaurs. They're absolutely fucking dinosaurs when it comes to their networking and their social media. Like their strategy is old. It's just that old strategy is really good right now.
It's like the fact that they announced their shit through an app that is only their stuff is crazy.
Right. Yeah, it's fucking stupid. It's
the fact that I have to check Nintendo Today. So, Jesus. The fact that I have to check Nintendo Today in order to get like whatever news they're getting out. Like when they posted that news about Star Fox, they shadow dropped the Star Fox announcement on a fucking Thursday afternoon. Speaking of which, that is our next news story is, hey, Star Fox was announced, and Nintendo has confirmed it is the second game that is going to be cheaper digitally. So if you buy the digital version, it'll be $50 instead of $60. And then they also announced, hey, this game exists. And boy howdy, it looks fucking cool.
And I think that's also a good move by Nintendo, making their physicals more expensive. Honestly, they should have been doing a push for digital a long time ago. That's what everybody else was doing.
Well, I mean, they put stuff out on digital, but no one else has done this. Sony hasn't done this. Microsoft hasn't.
Yeah.
I think they should have.
I think it's a good move. It is crazy to me, the sort of lack of push for digital that they've had historically. Though, I've been digital on Nintendo since the 3DS, right? It's just especially right now, it's just very good for them because oil,
you gotta shipping things be expensive, dog.
Shipping things is expensive. And manufacturing cartridges is going to be harder because they're made with plastics
and chips.
I do not like that this is happening. I say I praise it from a strategy perspective. But
See,
it sucks.
I
I
actually
like physical media existing.
I like physical media existing, but I have always been a proponent that okay, the retailer isn't getting a cut. You don't have to ship it. You don't have plastic or chips going into this, or a disc in the case of Sony. Why the fuck am I paying as much as the copy that I buy from a store? So I am kind of I'm torn because I do think physical media should exist. You should be able to buy things physically if you want them that way. That I get pissed every time a movie comes out and it doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray. Let me tell
I like
you,
being able to spend less money where I can, and also I think the big thing that has prevented other people from doing this is retailers getting really fucking pissed at them.
yeah, and Nintendo weighed the pros and cons here, and they were like,
and they went, we didn't even fucking release a physical for Procopia, so who fucking cares what retailers think? Is basically
yeah, yes. So
like they're like, yeah, we don't want to fucking make these stupid cartridges anymore. Is clearly the kind of feeling they're going with. And,
and and I know people who are in the Nintendo community who aren't happy about the physical thing. I know some retailers are matching Nintendo's digital price. Walmart is the one doing it currently. So Walmart is selling this for $50 physical. So yeah, I don't know, man. I think from a strategy perspective and a consumer perspective, this is actually solid. I just hope it doesn't lead to physical going away. And then this is my own personal thing. Holy fuck, dude! We're getting a remake of one of my favorite games, and it's only $50. Let's go.
I might play Star Fox. Never played it.
Okay, so I had an idea. So did you watch this presentation at all?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So
why you ask?
Well, I asked
is that
because
good? Is it good because you want me to be blind?
No, it's good because I have to. So they're adding a Star Fox avatars thing to Nintendo Game Chat, right?
Oh.
So you can set a character avatar to your camera, so it acts like a VTuber, as you can see on the screen right now.
Oh, they're making a VTuber. Yeah, your little VTuber feature.
Yeah, they're a VTuber feature for the Star Fox characters. And you can do this while watching other people play games. So let me see if I can get to the Mario Galaxy footage they showed with it.
Oh man.
So here you go.
It just made me realize that that's like the future.
Yeah, so here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Here it is. It's on the screen right now. It's Fox is watching somebody play Mario Galaxy. And I was like, we could totally do me, you, Anthony Aaron, or me, you, Anthony Ray, a let's play of this game with the Star Fox game chat avatars, and it would be amazing.
But you've made me realize with the current massive popularity of VTubers and the slowly lowering inaccessibility of the technology of like live 2D tracking.
Yeah.
That is absolutely the next like fucking console social media feature is bring back Xbox avatars and I VTuber that. I VTuber it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Another thing about this is they've added N64 support. Like the N64 Switch 2 controller. You can buy those and it'll work with the game. And I'm gonna be real, I'm thinking about it. I don't like the N64 is my least played system on NSO, but it is the one that I'm like, I can't picture playing Star Fox 64 any other way. This is how it goes.
I, for one, have never held an N64 controller, and I can certainly picture playing it different ways.
Fuck, I really gotta have you over for like a.
I know,
man.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, we need to. let me get a hold of Anthony and Ray and talk to him about an in-person Let's Play. It's been a minute. So.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, on to the other console publisher people. Hey, PS5 sales have started to drift behind PS4. Sony says it's undecided on PS6 price and release date. While PS5 has reached 93.7 million, and then Sony reports a $765 million impairment loss related to Bungie.
Yeah, so obviously the whole, first section of the story supports basically everything I was just saying about Sony, about how I think
Hashtag Duncan was right.
they're really
Duncan was
they're
right.
really poorly
Motherfucker.
they're really poorly
Oh my
positioned,
God.
I think, for the next console generation. I mean, the PS5 isn't even great positioned, right? Like, and it's better positioned for sure than like than Xbox, of course. Like the PS5
The,
has
the
destroyed the Xbox this time, but
this
like
I'll tell you this: the PlayStation 5, in my opinion, feels like a giant ball dropped because your primary competitor had his dick in his hands, doing nothing.
yeah.
And instead of just leaning into what made you successful the past 2 generations, you chased every trend in the world and fucked yourself. And the only reason you're doing well and even comparative to your previous console is because you don't really have a primary competitor anymore.
Yeah, they're in that situation that the Chromebook market was in, where it's like, oh hey, Chromebooks are free money unless Apple decides they aren't anymore, right? It's like, oh,
Yeah,
the PS5 is going to do really well unless somebody else just decides to make a good console.
exactly. Now, I will say, I think PS5 for this year does have the fact that GTA 6 is a de facto exclusive.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be an incredible year for the PS5, due completely to other people's actions and none of their own.
And Wolverine. It's like, they got Wolverine too, but it's Sony has had this real issue this generation of getting out of its own fucking way.
Yeah.
And it's really coming home right now. They had to raise the price of the PS5 by $100, and it's caused a massive shortfall in terms of sales. About half of what the PS4 was at its equivalent point in life. They said a journalist asked, how much of an impact is these RAM prices going to affect PS6? Totoki replied by explaining that as the price of memory increases, the cost of materials, bill of materials, and the cost of manufacturing would increase as a result, and that's going to have a big impact. He also stated that the rest of the calendar year 2026, Sony has acquired the necessary volume of materials needed to a certain extent agreed on the price itself. So that means for at least this calendar year, we might not see a more expensive PlayStation 5. But man, how fucking funny would it be if next year they have to increase the price of the PS5 again?
And the thing is that I struggle to actually think of scenarios that are worse. Like, what else could happen to make console prices go up now, right? We've had all the hardware go up. We've had all the shipping go up. Like what's the other vulnerable sector of production?
Tiny motors suddenly become very expensive, so these get pricier.
Yeah, I think that I legitimately think that it's yeah, it's certain. Well, no, motors are such a small component.
Yeah.
Maybe I think the only major thing I think that could happen as a global event that could majorly increase console prices more than they're already increasing is China invading Taiwan.
Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
think if
Well,
that happens, chip prices are going to go up
it's
even more than they already have,
well,
and it'll make
it's
hardware prices even higher. And I think literally nothing is left to
well,
do to make the situation
it's
worse.
which I feel like Apple is hedging their bets on that a little bit because they have recently started talking to Intel about using their fabs for the M chips.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and
that
also there's a lot of government pressure,
yeah.
specifically towards Apple to work with Intel, and a lot of American companies, I think, are going to be working more with Intel just because of like the weird Nepo situation that Intel is in right now with being owned in large part by the U.S. government. But yeah, I can't think of things being worse for a console manufacturer than just if Taiwan gets invaded by China. Other than that, it's like as bad as it gets.
Well, especially like an upmarket console manufacturer. Like the reason why Nintendo is fine is the GPU in the Switch 2 is like the equivalent of like a 50 Super. The screen is an LED IPS screen, even if it's 120 hertz. The Joy-Cons are basically more advanced Switch 1 Joy-Cons. It's their thing that they always said, God, what was the term they used? Lateral use of withered technology, which is, hey, we're going to be using old tech, because we're using old tech. That way
It's been like a super, super good strategy for them. It's been the advantage everything they've had since the DS.
The only time that it did not work out was the Wii U.
Yeah, the only time. And that's, I mean, that was mostly down to marketing. The Wii U was a fine console.
It was marketing, and like developing for it was fucking butt cheeks, if we're being honest. Yeah. But when everything moved to x86, they were on PowerPC. So, yeah, I think that Sony is like, they're in a okay spot because of the fact that they have they're the only what we'll call HD or high-end console, because like, let's be real, Xbox has dropped 33% each fucking quarter for the past 3 years. How many Xboxes are really being sold? Not many. And it's the de facto exclusive device for Grand Theft Auto for the first 18 months of its existence. Yeah. But when you start looking ahead to PlayStation 6, and then, how well certain games have done, like, I have heard Saros is not doing great. Like, Ghost of Yote did well, but Saros isn't doing particularly great, and Wolverine's gonna do well because it's fucking Wolverine, but they don't have, to my knowledge, do they have any other exclusive bookmark this year?
I don't keep up with it enough to know. I don't think so.
Yeah, like, so
I'm sure there's something, but nothing that is big enough. I haven't even heard about it, so it's probably not a huge deal.
Like, I know that they're co-marketing Marvel Tokon, and that's not on Xbox, but it is on PC. And I know that they are this is on everything, but I know they're co-marketing it. They're co-marketing James Bond, which, that game looks awesome. I'm really looking forward to that game, but you can play it on a PC and an Xbox, so it's not really a fucking big deal. So yeah, like, I don't know, man, and like, they have all these.
Certainly not going to be helping them. Bungie,
yeah.
Right. What was the number again? 580 or 540 that they said in the story?
I think it's 580.
It's 560 million loss on Bungie acquisition as Marathon struggles and Destiny 2 nosedives. Sony purchased Bungie for $3.6 billion in 2022 on the eve of Destiny 2's best expansion ever. Witch Queen was lit. It's true. Just over 4 years later, the PlayStation 5 maker is recording a $560 million impairment cost for its fourth quarter of 2025 fiscal year, which closed 4 weeks after the launch of Marathon. The company recording impairment losses against Bungie Inc.'s intangible and other assets to explain negative factors impacting its otherwise decent performance. Sony recorded a total of nearly $765 million loss for the entire year on the Bungie deal, with the possibility of additional losses from the acquisition in fiscal year 2026. Marathon, Bungie's first new franchise, not a new franchise, but okay, in over a decade, launched on March 5th, 2 months later.
So much shade in that statement. They're quote-unquote first new franchise, and there's 3 other games.
Yeah, launched on March 5th.
Nobody cares about Marathon. Those games were cool.
They were cool if you owned a Mac in the 90s.
I shouldn't be talking so much. I've never played them. I've
they
watched
are
a
they
series of videos about them by Mandalore Gaming that made me
they
really, really like them.
they are genuinely good games. They put them out on the 360. I don't know if you can't download them because that store was taken down, but those games were on the 360 for a bit. That's how I played them.
They harken back to a time where Bungie was full of psychotic, ambitious developers making insane shit. And Marathon is a story full of insane shit. And I love it. I think it's really fucking cool. And
well, you will be
my
happy to
biggest
know the new
disappointment.
one has a lot of that in it. The new one has a lot of that in it.
Well,
But
my
continue.
biggest disappointment in hearing about the new one is that apparently it doesn't have nearly as much of it in it as
That's
the
fair.
games did, as a sort of way to make it friendly. Because, like, yeah, the story of Marathon is really impenetrable and weird.
It is in the new one. It is fucking cool for it.
Yeah, and that's cool, and you could still see the juice that Bungie has those weird freaks in there that come up with dumb but interesting ideas like the fucking grimoire cards in Destiny.
So
As a guy who read all the grimoire cards and was like, there's this weird period in Destiny 1 where there was a ton of grimoire cards that only people that were like the best in the game had, because there was parts of the game that were just inaccessible to others, like stuff in the raids. And so I was like, I was on the forefront of people finding the grimoire cards, and everyone was like, man, this system is stupid and it's a horrible way to tell the story, and it's kind of awesome, because it lets you engage in this weird non-linear, like, sort of pick up and piece together kind of story. uh Bungie's always had those guys there. They've had those guys with good ideas, and they've never been able to make $1 with it, ever.
so continuing on this story though, 2 months later, Sony has still not confirmed sales for the extraction shooter, let alone player count, despite praise from fans and reviewers. True, I think it is the best extraction shooter I've ever played. It is the only extraction shooter I have played that didn't immediately make me go, "This fucking is obnoxious and sucks." And multiple people have given it 5 out of 5s. It has been able to stay in the top 10 most played games each week on any platform, and is currently hovering between 10 to 15,000 players on Steam. And that's where it's sold the majority of its copies so far. While it can't compare with concurrent player numbers for Destiny 2 in the past, Bungie's famous looter shooter has seen better days. It's currently at its lowest point ever on Steam. It's because it's bad now. Bungie...
I had this conversation with my brother during the last major expansion for Destiny 2, where I was telling him, I'm like, unfortunately, the final shape was super great. It was so amazing,
Yeah.
and that's it. There's no way, like, Bungie is falling off after this. And he was very mad at me. He's very mad at me because he loves Destiny a lot, right?
I love
And he was
Destiny.
like,
I loved Destiny a lot.
and he was like,
not so much
how
today.
dare you, basically, this, because it's his game. The game that he plays for him, the one game, that's Destiny, right? He plays Destiny, and then he plays Friend Slop. And he was like, no, Destiny's gonna be fine. It's amazing. The game's great. The company's great. Like, why would it fall off? And I'm like, I'm sorry to tell you, uh, they shot their load with the final shape. They've been building up to it to 10 years. Every single fucking game, every MMO, every game that has that happen to it, where it finally does the thing it's been building up to for 10 years, has a ridiculous fall off afterwards, which is why Final Fantasy 14, I didn't get to talk about it last week because I wasn't here, though I imagine you guys did, is basically going, hey, we're going to completely reinvent ourselves again, now that we've done the thing, because they had one more expansion and then it had a huge fall off, and people didn't like Dawn Trail, and the game was way less successful than it's been historically. And I was basically telling them, like, that's gonna happen.
Well, I mean,
to Destiny, and it is.
Like, think about how long it took for Warcraft to go from Wrath to get really good again in Legion. Like, that was like 6 years, dude. You know, like it's
ironic that I played World of Warcraft during its Dawn Trails / like post Final Shape for Destiny. Like I played it during Warlords of Draenor, which was by all accounts it ran out of juice and here's its shit expansion.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah. So and I think that Destiny 2. It is the problem that people I know run into with that game comes down to the amount of bullshit grind. Like Anthony says that is the best raiding experience he has ever had. He has raided it. He has raided in Final Fantasy and WoW and a little bit in Lost Ark, and I have done the same. And my take is I do think Destiny 2 is the best of the bunch. And that's saying something because World of Warcraft has incredible raids. However, I think the problem with Destiny 2 is to be able to get in and do those raids and be a competent member of your team is far too much work. And we've talked about this. And Anthony's build, the build that we were making for Anthony, was pretty easy to get. He basically would have had to grind PvP or events for a week or two.
Celestial Nighthawk is like, it's like baby mode.
Yes.
Baby mode for a fucking Destiny 2 build.
But
when you're doing like day one raiding, right, where you're trying to like, you're not just trying to be a useful member of your team. It is required that you be among the strongest you could possibly be, like to be able to competitively participate in it. I had bare minimum stuff, which is like 2 100s in stats, which is how it worked at the time. It works differently now.
No.
And that grind is ridiculous because it's because the grind for the exotic gear, which is what you guys were doing, is not the hard part at all. That is the great, you've started. The hard part is grinding for purple gear. It's grinding for legend. It's grinding.
Yeah, it's maxing that shit out.
That just have good stats on them, and it's like, oh, it's a 1 in 100 that you get something that has the stat range that qualifies, and then it has to roll good in that stat range on the stats you want it to have. And so you're just cycling through dozens upon dozens upon dozens of drops, and none of them fucking matter. And the drops that do matter, you have to like train your eye to find them because they're like, it's just the bars being in slightly different placements. Like it's so annoying. It's really bad. It's a really bad gearing experience. That is the barrier to the greatest thing I have done in a video game, period.
And it's like, yes, I think those raids are fucking incredible, but I do think that barrier is too much. Like, even the barrier for, as you called it, the baby build, Anthony looked at that and was like, fuck this. I don't want to bother with this.
Yeah, because it's like I'm gonna do 15 hours of grinding, right?
And
I'm gonna do like 15 hours of grinding to be online, and honestly, you don't even feel it that much. Like, the difference between a good build and a bad build in Destiny 2, it's kind of, there are a scant few builds that you're like, oh, the game plays noticeably differently now.
Yes. So, a couple of things here to note. Is I looked up the Steam charts, and yeah, Destiny's 24-hour peak is actually lower than Marathon's right now. Mm-hmm. Now, Destiny in total might be doing better because of console, of course, but that's still not a good sign for Destiny.
Star Wars was not enough to save Destiny,
unfortunately. And then, yeah, Marathon is fucking incredible. Highly recommend everyone go play it. They're not gonna. Like, it's that's the truth of it. And then to make all this worse, Sony, in our next story here, is getting really into AI. Sony lays out its AI plan for PlayStation. We believe AI will unleash the creativity of our studios. Sony Interactive Entertainment President and CEO Hideki Nishino says AI will play a big role in the development of its games. AI will increase the volume and diversity of content. Trusted franchises promising high-quality experiences will stand out. During Sony's presentation for its latest financial result, we already talked about all that. saying, quote, "For our players, we will mean a gaming experience like never before. More immersion, more adventures, and fresh ways to enjoy their favorite characters. For our publishers, this will mean even more efficient production environment and a better discovery to ensure games reach the right audiences. According to Nishino, AI will lower barriers to creation and accelerate development cycles, enabling more creators to enter the market. As a result, Sony expects a meaningful increase of the volume and diversity of content available to players."
So this strikes me as, unfortunately, a kind of slightly worse version of just what Asha Sharma has been saying at Microsoft.
Yep.
Which is, guys, AI is gonna reduce the slop work, right? You know, like, oh, the making art assets thing for environments, like, you know, the stuff that they view as slop work, is gonna become easier and faster. But he's saying that he thinks more games are gonna come out in general because of AI. He thinks that it's going to lower the barrier to entry for development, lower development costs, and cause a larger variety of games to come out, which he thinks will advantage their platform. And like, I don't think he's entirely wrong, but I think it signals to me that we might be entering an era where Sony is lowering its content like quality standards for its platform.
That is the literal worst thing they could be doing.
Which is bad. It's bad. They wouldn't be the only ones, of course. Obviously, anyone who's paying attention to the quality standards of Nintendo, for example, for what's on their platform, could tell you that, yeah, they're horrible now. Like,
yeah,
the eShop has like mountains upon mountains of AI porn stuff.
See, I am well. Sony already has that problem on the PlayStation Store. I am saying that this is going to lower the quality of their games themselves.
So yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is that I think they are thinking, ooh, all the devs we've acquired, they're going to be able to put out games faster and cheaper. That's what they are looking forward to, because, you know, obviously Sony owns a ton of studios.
And even if they keep shutting them down.
Even if they keep shutting them down, they buy them at similar rates. So like, I think that they are looking at all of these studios that they've had that they keep canceling projects for and stuff, and they're going, oh, the dev cycles are going to get shorter from these people, and we're going to have to cancel fewer games, and games are going to come out more often, right? And yeah, I mean, I think it's bad. I think it means that they're integrating, you know, more. They just want to integrate AI more into their strategy and more into their workflows for their companies, and that's going to result in a lot of shittier quality stuff coming into their games as a consequence. And specifically, it's also going to result in a lot of lost jobs at these studios. I think that.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I think that they'll find that the actual rate of releases isn't going to change a whole lot, but it's going to give them way more reason to lay people off.
So, I'm looking at the studio list that they own right now, and things are not looking good over there. And I realize that a lot of this is, and we talked about this in the Shuhei Yoshida story. I think it was last week or the week before that, where he's just like, yeah, where he was like, yeah, Jim Ryan wanted to do a lot of stupid shit, and the reason that I got moved to a different role, it was basically go work on indies or be fired because I kept telling him to go fuck himself.
Yeah. You know, that happened, and then all of a sudden Sony has had a sequence of horrible seasons for all of their first-party devs.
It's almost like the guy who worked at and helped build PlayStation into being a juggernaut knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, it's almost like the guy that was in charge of the period where first-party devs at Sony were the most successful may have had something to do with that.
It's almost like that maybe we should have trusted him. Now, I do agree that every company should have a live service bed or two. They didn't have a live service bed. They said, we're putting the house, the farm, the car, and the dog on the fucking live service roulette table. And they had one hit. It was Helldivers. You spent billions of dollars.
And also, you can't... Helldivers is not enough of a hit.
No, not for the amount of money they spent.
When we're talking about the live service games that people play, I don't think Helldivers is even in the conversation for like the top list.
Though. No, it's not.
It's great. I love it, but like, it's just not what they need. They needed to dethrone somebody, and they didn't.
They did not. So I'm going to go through their first-party studios list right now because it's very interesting. Bend Studio, Sony Bend, was working on a live service game, and so they put out Days Gone in 2019, so 7 years ago. That game ended up launching okay and then turning real good after several patches, and they have not put out a game in 7 years. Fire Sprite Studios put out that Horizon VR game. Nobody cares because it's VR. Guerrilla Games put out Horizon 2, which was 4 years ago, and we haven't heard jack shit about what they're doing next. Haven Studios is still working on Fair Games, and they're on the 5th year of working on it, and it's this fucking live service sports game thing. I believe that was the Jade Raymond studio. Which, man, Jesus Christ, lady, how you really promoting the fact that you made Assassin's Creed. We get it. We know. You're going to ride that till you die. Anyway, they have their weird live stream.
If I made Assassin's Creed, I would too.
Fair. Housemarque actually put out a couple games. They put out Saros and Returnal. So they you know, Insomniac is now the Sony's golden goose. This generation, they've put out Miles Morales, Ratchet & Clank, Spider-Man 2, and Wolverine. They've put out a game in 4 out of the 6 years of the console. Sony, and they're probably going to have another game shortly after. Malaysia Studio, they port Last of Us and MLB The Show to other places. Media Molecule, they put out Dreams in 2020, and we haven't heard jack shit from them since. Naughty Dog, they made The Last of Us 2, came out in 2020. It has been 6 years, almost, as of next month. They are working on a new game called Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, in which we have seen one teaser trailer, which was shown off at the end of 2024.
Yikes.
Nixie Software. This is the studios that ports everything to PC. Okay.
Sony didn't have Quantic Dream, right? They're
Quantic Dream is independent. Sony did used to publish all their stuff, but then they went off to do their own thing, which thank God for that.
Thank God it crashed and burned. We're not getting that Quantic Dream Star Wars game, are we? That got canceled.
It didn't been canceled yet, but we're probably never gonna get it.
Yeah. Too busy with the Photoshop Hitler penis lawsuit.
Yep. I'm gonna let people research that on their own. They can put that in their browser history.
Dude, okay, I have this. I don't know why. This is kind of a non sequitur for the main story, but I have to bring it up since we're talking about Quantic Dream. Even though I'm the one who brought up Quantic Dream. Fucking so many people in my life love that fucking their last game.
Detroit?
Detroit Become Human.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
So many people love Detroit Become Human.
Do they also have a dream?
I love Detroit Become Human because I find it like hilariously, unbelievably stupid, right? It is like the most ham-fisted, look you in the eyes, talk to the audience game I've ever fucking seen, and I love that so much. It's the fucking dumbest thing ever. And like, I don't understand how that game is so popular and so successful.
I don't get it either.
Quantic Dream is this insane anomaly to me, where like they've got a series of very fucking stupid games that make shitloads of money.
Okay, so Heavy Rain was dumb but fun. I have not played enough Indigo Prophecy to say, and then Detroit Beyond Two Souls was fucking terrible. That was genuinely a bad game. And then
but I think it was vaguely successful.
It was successful.
Like,
it was very successful.
Ever since Heavy Rain, like, because I know Indigo Prophecy and obviously Omicron are like not actually very successful games. I think Indigo Prophecy was like all right, and Omicron was like a huge flop.
Yeah.
But like fucking ever since Heavy Rain, they make money every time.
Yeah, yes, and Heavy Rain I enjoyed for as fucked up as it was. You know, and then Beyond Two Souls was really bad. Detroit, like you said, it was just, in all fairness to Detroit, it is right in this assumption, but I think it's not because it's actually making this assumption. I think it's because the writer is bad. Is, as you said, handholds and looks the audience directly in the eye the whole time. But you know,
my favorite clip on the fucking internet. Oh my god, the fucking scene. There's these people doing a let's play of it, right?
Yeah.
And they're going political. I don't really think the game's political. Like, they're responding to chat messages. I don't really think the game's that like overtly political. You know, like you can sort of analog it to a lot of things, and they're on the main menu, and then the fucking girl on the main menu goes, "Did you know the Underground Railroad went through Detroit?" So like it interrupts them to talk about the Underground Railroad. It's like, oh no, it's about anything, is it? And they're like, well, and to their credit, they immediately go, okay, well, I guess fucking prove us wrong. Like
well, I will always remember
so unbelievably direct.
My biggest memory of that game is watching. We did a let's play of it back in the day, by the way. That was one of the last.
The Super Best Friends let's play. Both of their let's plays are legendarily fantastic.
But that scene where Wooly gets to like you doing the graffiti, and one of the ones you can pick is "I Have a Dream," and he just loses his shit.
Amazing. Or the scene where they're like it's like really early on, so they don't know just how bad it is yet.
Yeah.
And then they get forced to walk to the back of the bus.
Yes.
Oh my god.
We need, you know what?
It was the last great Super Best Friends let's play. It was the last true great one.
We should do an LP of that game.
Oh.
I wish my friend Theo still lived in Reno, because I would love to get him in on that one.
But yeah, I know a ton of people that adore that game. They're like, oh, that was great. Like my sister was way into it, my older sister. It just baffles me. It baffles me, and like I have a hard time talking about it to people.
Well,
because
it's
like if you don't see it, I don't know how to explain.
Okay, look. A lot of people failed high school English, okay? Because these are the same fucking pod people who can look you in the eye and tell you Final Fantasy VII and Metal Gear Solid are not political.
Not political, yeah.
I don't know what to fucking tell you, how you can play Final Fantasy VII and not think that game isn't political at all. You know, like, I don't know what to tell you. This is not everything is Fahrenheit 451, where everyone is screaming that's about censorship, and Ray Bradbury is like, nah, dude, it's just about how TV is making people stupider. It's like, no, not everything is that. I'm sorry. Like, Jesus Christ.
It's just, also Ray Bradbury's lying, about that. But,
he is.
It's like, yeah, I mean, Fahrenheit 451 is obviously like a series of major political statements. He's just one of those people that goes, no, what political statement? What are you talking about? Maybe read the book and think about it.
Fair.
One of those people that like refuses to acknowledge what he's obviously saying in his own books.
And maybe he is not doing it. Maybe the author himself might be media literate, and he's literally thinking that.
Yeah. But you know, it's like it's with all the Quantic Dream games, when people like them and I go, oh, I'm not a huge fan, and they're like, oh, why? I'm like, I just don't know how to get it across to you. The only thing I can do to explain why I don't like a Quantic Dream game is to gesture towards the game and the thing it's doing. Like,
Well,
all I could do is point at it and go, look.
I, I have
And if looking at it didn't make you see that, I can't make your eyes see.
I I have had that myself in the sense that like I've tried to explain it to them, and then I end up going into like a 20-minute thing about understanding writing and the way things work, and then their eyes glaze over, and it's just like, okay.
Well, because I go like it's so ham-fistedly forwardly about this thing, and like they don't even miss the message. Like they don't miss
Yeah.
that it's about that thing, but they're like, yeah, what's wrong with it being about that? I'm like, there's nothing wrong with it being about that. That's great subject matter that can be very compelling. It's the way. It's that like it's just like beating me over the head with it. And like I'm not here to get my head beaten. I don't know. It's crazy. Because it sounds like I have a problem with it being about racism, and that's not it at
I don't
all.
know, Duncan.
Right?
You're a straight white guy.
Right,
I don't
exactly. It's
know.
like how do you explain that your problem is that it's about racism, but also that you don't think that a game being about racism is like bad? Like that's a totally good thing to make a game about. It's just that the way they made it about it
Yeah,
in this is horrible. I don't have the skills to
it's
articulate it.
anyway. I'm gonna keep going through this studio list.
You're right. You're right. Studio.
Polyphony Digital, the Gran Turismo guys, last put out a game 4 years ago. They're still on schedule. San Diego studio puts out a baseball game every year. Good for them. Sony San Mateo is a support studio. Sony Santa Monica put out God of War. What was that, like 4 years ago now? They were working on a God of War multiplayer thing, but then changed their mind, and now it's up in the air what they're working on. Supposedly it's a new IP. Sucker Punch just put out Ghost of Yotei last year. Team Asabi just put out Astro's Playroom at launch, and then 4 years later put out Astro Bot. Team LFG, it was founded last year as a multiplayer studio. That's where all your Bungie employees are going to go, everybody. I want you to know that. They have already moved over Shikai Wang, who is one of their big artists who's been around since the OG Bungie days. So, like, I'm telling you right now, this is what's going to happen with Bungie. They're going to strip it for parts, and anybody who is talented or worth a shit is going to be on Team LFG.
Yeah.
Okay. Valkyrie Entertainment... Sorry, what?
I said, and there's plenty of them.
Yep. Valkyrie Entertainment is a support studio who's worked on Infamous, God of War, and Twisted Metal. I don't know what they're working on currently. I'm gonna actually have to go dig that up. Give me 1 sec. Let's see. Valkyrie Entertainment. Yeah, okay, so the recent thing they worked on was God of War Ragnarok and then a phone game called Guns Up. And that's pretty much all that's on their website, so I don't...
Interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess they're a support studio for Sony Santa Monica. And then XDev. So they work with external partners across the industry to get things like Until Dawn, Detroit Become Human, Kena exclusively on PlayStation. And then XDev Tokyo does the same thing for Japan games. That's how Stellar Blade, Death Stranding, and Marvel Tokon are exclusive or partially exclusive to PlayStation. They have gutted. So these are the studios they have just killed in the 2020s. They killed Pixel Opus, who was the folks behind Entwined. And they also killed... they also made, I believe it was the Pixel Junk games. So you got that. They killed Neon Koi, which was a mobile developer. They killed Sony London, which made, funnily enough, one of their most popular games in the UK with SingStar, along with all the iToy games and some other offshoot stuff. They also were the fine folks behind PlayStation Home, if you remember that. Let's see. They killed Firewalk, which that was the Concord people. That makes sense. And they killed Dark Outlaw Games, which was a Jason Blundell, the guy who made Call of Duty Zombies. He has made a studio with them a couple of times, and then just, for whatever reason, it just never panned out. And then Their most recent one, Blue Point Games, who was wildly successful making remakes, and they decided to just shoot him in the face for no reason.
It's crazy. It's just crazy.
So that's Sony Studios have a whole lot of nothing going on or secret projects, and it's just like you want to know what the fuck they're doing, but they seem really far out. If they are smart, they will put out a couple here and there, but mostly ride what they have until PlayStation 6 and make sure PlayStation 6 has a bunch of great exclusive games. And I would also delay PlayStation 6 as long as you possibly can so you can put it out at a price point that does not seem fucking crazy.
Yeah, I think if they want to be successful in this next generation, they're going to have to make literally their only option, the only strategy that I think works at all for them is to make the single greatest library of exclusives video games have ever seen.
I'm not gonna go that
they
far.
Need to suddenly fucking just have like a ton of shit that is unreasonably successful. And I think if they don't end up with that, they're gonna have their lunch eaten by Nintendo.
I think that they just need to go back to basics. I think they need to get all these studios back into a good cadence like they did on PS4 and PS3 of, hey, every year we're getting out 4 or 5 games from our internal and external studios and partners. We're working and we're just on a good clip. We need to stop chasing trends and we need to be on top of our bullshit. We'll see if they do it. Now on to for our next 3 stories, we get to talk about everybody's favorite company, Xbox. Asha Sharma continues the Xbox overhaul as the revamped Series X/X boot up. Let me play this for you. There you go. That's it.
There you go.
Yep.
Yet another one of the many small moves Asha Sharma is making.
I just love how there are people on Twitter with this being like, big moves out of Microsoft. The Game Pass price cut, the new boot animation, the and I'm just like, dude, yeah, they're reevaluating their approach to exclusives. And I'm just like, bro, what are we doing? And apparently they put out the Xbox full screen mode on regular computers, but everyone I've talked to can't seem to access it. So take that how you will.
Interesting.
So yeah, I don't know what to say here, dude. This like everything she has done the past 2 months seems very just pandering. Like, see guys, see I care. I'm here to make Xbox good for consumer again.
Dude, fair. What else is she gonna fucking do? She is in such a scary spot. Like, you know, she fucking came into a company that is in a bad position. She's replacing an unsuccessful but well beloved CEO. Like it, you know, and she's a woman. Like, she is in such a precarious spot that if she makes even the tiniest little bit of a controversial decision, people are going to be crazy on her. So like the only moves she has that aren't going to be probably met with a ton of backlash is uncontroversial, nice little things.
I don't know. I think it would have been a better play to just say nothing and do nothing.
Flying under the radar is the other.
Yeah. In fact, if anything, I think it would have been better, except for the Game Pass price thing. I think that you just needed to stop the bleeding. Though I think it would have been really cool where if you got your Xbox Games Fest coming up, which by the way, we're all gonna be watching that live here as is tradition. We're all gonna go talk a bunch of shit about Xbox for an hour. It'll be neat.
As we do.
Anyway, so But we're gonna go and yeah. So it's back to what I was saying though. Is I feel like waiting to announce all this shit when you're a little closer to the launch of the next console or even just the Xbox showcase. Like a lot of this would have been a lot more impactful of like during the showcase, hey, we knew we fucked up with Game Pass, we're cutting price. We got a new boot animation. All this shit's out and it works and it's functioning and it's cool. And look at all these upcoming cool games you can be excited about, including Gears and Fable that are coming this year.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Xbox would do well to, I guess, build up. You know, like to load up a bunch of positive changes all at once that they can then present as like, hey, look, here's us improving our strategy to match what you guys want. We're do a big old we're listening sort of moment and make a bunch of changes that are, because I don't think this is a bad change at all, this very slight difference with the the startup animation, like sure, uh but I think yeah, you probably want to keep things in the chamber and like signal that you're doing a larger brand shift rather than doing like one tiny thing and saying, hey, we're doing a larger brand shift, here's a tiny thing, and then rinse
Well,
and repeat that
it's
as they have
it's
been doing.
it's like they opened up that website where you can like they're talking about bringing back the backwards compatibility program, and they've like opened up a website where you can request games for that, right?
Yeah,
Like that's a thing that got promoted recently, and like that's cool in its own way, and like
cool. I do
you
want
know,
you to do that.
yeah, like I would be happy, like I would love for me to like want to go out and buy an Xbox and use an Xbox. I do not.
Yeah.
Even like I just I don't think this is enough. I don't think there's enough like and this next news story is a perfect example of who is asking for this. Halo Studios is actively developing remakes of Halo 2 and 3, it's claimed. Earlier development has reportedly started on the remaking the entire Halo trilogy. One of my main sources sent me proof, verify themselves, and confirm that Halo 2 and 3 remakes are happening. Active development is underway. They are in early development. Um, let's see. Halo Combat Evolved remake will even include content from the other two entries, such as Brutes. Brutes may even make an appearance in the original Combat Evolved beyond the prologue. And apparently they're working on a multiplayer project and the next mainline Halo game. And they're all being made in Unreal 5.
All right, here's my crazy prediction, all right? Here's my crazy reality
Mm-hmm.
possibility. Run it back on Halo 4. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to reboot Halo from 3. So they remake 1, 2, 3, and then they go, all right, and we're making 4, a different game.
I feel like the problem with them rebooting. So, my first question here is like, okay, we're remaking 2 and 3. Are you going to include the multiplayer from 2 and 3? Like, those are the most important parts of those games, arguably. Is 3 going to have
No.
Forge?
They will make the horrible decision of coming up with a new multiplayer mode that plays nothing like it, like they did with the weird Halo 2 thing, where
I liked that
they
multiplayer in that Halo 2 thing, though. I will admit that. I
look, I'm
did.
not saying it was bad. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just also saying that wasn't a good idea from getting people to play it because it wasn't very popular. Uh,
Oh.
like fucking, oh guys, we're remastering Halo 2 as part of the Master Chief Collection, but also we're not doing its multiplayer. We're doing a multiplayer that is the Halo 2 remaster multiplayer that is Halo 5's multiplayer turned into Halo 2's multiplayer. That's
But
weird.
I don't think it's Halo 5 multiplayer. It feels kind of like Halo 2 if you had modern day aiming, because it doesn't have sprint. It doesn't have sprint. It doesn't have armor abilities. It's just like prettier, slightly tighter aiming, less floaty. But anyway,
It was very strange. It was very strange. It was a strange decision, and I think that they are going to do that again. and that they're gonna do new Halo multiplayer, and it's gonna be a probably worse version of what they're currently doing with their Halo Infinite multiplayer, which is pretty good.
Halo Infinite multiplayer is fantastic, other than it's terrible getting into a game as we experience every year on my birthday.
That is what we experience every time.
Like, I'm like looking ahead to this year of like making an SOP for everyone to download the MCC.
Right.
So that way we're ready. We're like, okay, we don't have to play Infinite, and here's how you get the MCC downloaded correctly. So no, because like I'm looking at that Halo 1 remake, and one, they are completely misunderstanding the design of Halo 1, as we've talked about on previous episodes of this show. But they don't include the multiplayer of Halo 1, which that's disappointing. And then on top of that, they also are making it a 4-player co-op instead of a 2, and just it feels like they're misunderstanding the point of what that game was. But we'll see. I'm a Halo fan. I'll begrudgingly try it, but I'm not over the moon for it. And then they're adding 3 new missions. We'll see how those turn out. I feel like making a Halo game in the current day should be the easiest thing in the world, but somehow they're fucking it up. So here we are. Anyway, next thing from a Microsoft developer, though. Fallout's co-creator says some players are told by influencers what to think rather than forming their own opinion. True. Based.
Very
based.
Agreed. Big facts.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
I have been seeing so Mixtape came out this past week, and I loved it. And a lot of people on Twitter have a bunch of opinions about that game, even though they
hate that game. And I think it's a clear case of the woke games list, right?
Yes.
Like just a bunch of guys going, looks like a woke.
Even though this game is like legitimately one of the most traditional values ass game I have ever seen in my entire life, it is about literal fucking teenagers in suburban America being hoodlum ass teenagers, and everyone is straight. I'm just very confused.
Yeah, the big complaint I've been seeing from these people online is like that to them it's not even a game because there's not a lot of failure states in the sequences.
Yeah, there's really only failure states in the skating, to my knowledge.
But like, yeah, it's just a fucking different kind of game. It's a cinematic game. That's not crazy. We've had those for a long time.
Our Telltale games not games are fucking yes, there is less gameplay here than the studio's last game, The Artful Escape, which in hindsight should have been my game of the year 2021. It was my number 4.
I believe in particular the bone to pick here is birthed from a lot of fucking these guys really hate IGN.
Yeah, and they gave it a 10.
IGN gave it a 10.
They gave it a 10.
That just went, okay, well, IGN gave it a 10. Must be awoke. And, now they're fucking they're shitting on it constantly.
It's just so fucking dumb. Especially when you get Kind of Funny gave it a 10. I think there are a couple other places that were and some creators that I follow didn't like it for different reasons that were actually legitimate. I understand why Jeff Gersman didn't like it. I understand that. And that's fine. I disagree, but
I don't know enough about the game yet to properly refute what people are saying, but everything I've seen has been the kind of statement that I go, I don't know. I don't know if that's really enough of a criticism for me to give a shit about, that as a negative effect on my experience of the game. I don't think I'll probably end up playing it, even though by all the accounts that I've heard so far, it's pretty good.
I've considered buying it for you and a couple other people because I'm like, y'all need to check this out.
It's just clearly the sort of thing where it's like you can tell with some complaints that it's not relevant to the artistic experience, the sort
Yeah.
of intent of the creators. And it's like, yeah, I don't think that this quote unquote not having a challenge of any kind is actually relevant to the kind of experience they're crafting. And that's probably a bullshit criticism from a guy who can't fucking enjoy a game that isn't like an action game or some RPG.
Oh well,
It rings very reminiscent of the limited scope gamer that kind of like, oh, I hate this game because it's like this, and it's like, oh, okay, well, what other similar thing do you like that this isn't living up to? And it's like, nothing. I hate all things like that. And it's like, okay, so why does your opinion on it matter at all?
yeah, like oh god, no, is like I saw Patrick Klepek posted about this as well. Mixtape, which I love because I'm a paid off journalist. He's being sarcastic. Is both producing a lot of interesting discussion about 90s exhaustion, assumptions about collective experiences, etc., and making the absolute worst people online extremely mad. Hell of a game. you know. Yeah, no, and then some dude posted name a bigger downgrade, and it shows Stellar Blade next to mixtape, and I'm just like, wow.
Oh my god, it's such a tiring complaint. It's such a tiring complaint because like, game with hot girl being good does not mean that game must have hot girl to be good. It's like come on.
I also love how they imply journalists hate certain games when they don't. And like they post this image on the left, which I'll get it pulled up for you. Hold on, let me get this lovely tweet for you.
This is, and that's one of those complaints that I hear that always baffles me because like they constantly bring up fucking Stellar Blade, and Stellar Blade was well reviewed. Everybody liked Stellar Blade.
Well, yeah, they're saying like left games journalists love, right games journalists hated, and it's just like
all of those games are games that were well received by games journalists.
Yeah, like Wukong, I think. Like, all right, hold on, I'm gonna pull up the Metacritic here for these fucking games here. Let's see.
I've seen nothing but positive coverage of Crimson Desert. Everybody loved Space Marine. Space Marine was very successful among games journalists. They thought it was very cool.
Stellar Blade is sitting at an 81. Sitting at an 81. I'm gonna specifically look up IGN because that's the fucking company that these guys all fucking lose their mind over. In terms of the games, game reviews, which it's just like, man, for a company that doesn't matter, you guys sure talk about it a lot, huh? Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, okay, they gave it a... God damn, a lot of people reviewed Stellar Blade. Yeah, they gave it an 80. An 8 out of 10 is a respectable score. Yeah, anyway, continue what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's disconnected from reality. Fucking, it's just a movement of people that think like there's this fucking shadow war with video games, and like none of the games they care about matter more than the next FIFA.
Well, like, it's like these guys are talking about Crimson Desert. Crimson Desert has a 77 on Metacritic. Also not bad. But there are plenty of outlets that gave that shit a 90 or higher. Okay? Yeah. Plenty of them gave it an 80 or higher. Yeah, a lot of places...
It also, like, has clear problems worth criticizing, even to people who like it. Like, it's just full of issues.
Yes, like, and that is something and the thing is like, as a critic, I reviewed games professionally at the Gamer Access for a long time. Okay, I was there for 9 years, and I was doing anywhere from 1 to 6 reviews a month. Okay?
Right.
Like, I played a lot of fucking video games and wrote about them for a long fucking time. If you do, and the thing is this is where critics are disconnected from a lot of the general gaming populace,
Mm.
if you only play one big open world game a year, I'm sure Crimson Desert might actually be fucking incredible to you.
Yeah.
If you play all the big or most of the big open world games in a year, you probably think Crimson Desert is average and mediocre as shit. Because it doesn't do anything exceptional. And that, you know, and this is all subjective opinion, but like all the games on the right there, I think have a 75 or higher on Metacritic, which is good. I'll double check. But yeah, so no, sorry, what you were saying.
I mean, it relates back to this sort of like, you know, people have this issue where like, oh, 7 is the default score, right? Like,
yeah,
you know,
Space Marine 2
and
has an 82. Continue.
I think that there is just this this sort of like lack of exposure that consumers have in comparison to critics, where like critics are extra positively receptive of a game like Mixtape because it's different. Different means a lot for your review,
Yes,
right?
I
Like
absolutely.
it's way more important that a game is different for reviewers than
And
it is for the average consumer.
and
And I think that they blame that disconnect, like they see that disconnect and they go, "Oh, games critics don't know what they're talking about." Right? Because like I love Crimson Desert, so why is it getting poor reviews? But like it's because fucking you have to be really different if you want reviewers to enjoy your game, because they're gonna have this perspective of like, oh, you're stealing this from this Assassin's Creed, you're stealing this from Elden Ring, you're stealing this from here, and you're doing it worse than that thing. And if you didn't play a bunch of the stuff that it's taking its content from, then it doesn't matter to you, right? Uh
it right, like
and
it's the
they just they're looking for anything to attribute it to. And you know, the go-to is people taking advantage of that dissatisfaction, that disconnect, to make you go, it's the woke, it's the woke.
well, and comparatively, so every single game on the right side of that list got an 80 or higher on Metacritic, except for Crimson Desert, which got a 77. Last of Us, I already know, is in the 90s. Let's see what Marathon. You know, I'm gonna check the other side of the chart because I guarantee you Concord did not get an 80 or higher on Metacritic. Yeah, I got a 62, dude. But journalists
Yeah.
loved it. Journalists loved Concord. Gets a 62. Shut the fuck up. It's and the thing is like, as someone who was a critic, I can tell you at one point in my career, and I recognized it, which is what I was definitely giving a lot more positive reviews to indie and unique experiences. And that is something that I had to look at with my review process and go, oh, is this actually as valuable? Is this actually
Right.
like, you know, like for example, I looked at my game of the year list for 2013, and I have Gone Home, Dive Kick, Project Cross Zone, Thomas Was Alone, Guacamelee all in my top 10 list because those are all very
Right.
fresh, unique experiences. I do have some big stuff like Mario 3D World and GTA 5 and Last of Us, but like the, you know, and then it kind of flattens out and evens out more as, you know, my career went on. But
It's
yeah,
just that when you look at the average consumer's top 10 list for that same year, those indie experiences are going to be on like very few people's radar.
yeah, most
You know,
people probably didn't know what Thomas Was Alone was.
yeah,
You know,
like was successful, but like when you're talking about the average fucking game player, they weren't playing Guacamelee that year.
no, they were not. Um, so I looked at all the games on the left on Metacritic, and they all also were above 80, except for Concord.
Hmm.
So, you know, I do think that, like you said, there is a big problem in the reviewer reviewing space of 7 out of 10 is like the you made a competent product type deal.
Yeah, the thing is that I disagree with the. There is a consensus that people believe that 7 out of 10 is the default quality of a game and that anything at or lower than that is actually a bad review. I think that games are just better than a lot of people think. I think that 7 out of 10 is pretty good, and that if a game is getting reviewed in the first place, it's probably good enough to get the attention of and demand a review from outlets, which itself will bias it towards being a better game.
Well,
If
and
your game is getting reviewed by IGN, it's probably good enough for IGN to give a shit about covering it, which means it's probably all right, and probably at least a 7 out of 10.
And I think the thing here that you don't realize is, like, when looking at the broad scope of video games, right? Is if you're an outlet that's reviewing 1 million games a year, like IGN, like we did at the Gamer Access, you're reviewing, tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff. You, dude, like, just like, you don't. The average consumer does not see really bad games that often. Like bad. Like, I reviewed Aliens Colonial Marines. I give it a 3 out of 10. It was
Right.
my lowest reviewed game, I believe, on my entire time doing shit. And yes, it was a fucking giant piece of dog shit. Most people are never going to play a game as bad as Alien Colonial Marines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because bad games don't get as much attention. They just don't get it. And so most bad games that come out get, like, being a bad game means you will get fewer reviews. Being a good game means you will get more reviews. And so the score of all reviews is going to be biased upwards.
And I think that another thing that a lot of people don't, a lot of complaints I hear, and this isn't so much the woke crowd thing, is like people being like, well, this game scored lower than this game, so are you saying this game's better? Is like, not necessarily. Were they reviewed by the same person? Were the standards
Yeah.
of the time different? Was the genre different?
There is a sort of treatment as monolith amongst game reviewers, where it's like IGN is one reviewer in the eyes of the average person looking at the
It's
reviews and reading
John
what the source code is.
IGN reviewing everything.
It's John IGN reviewing everything, and IGN's opinion is the opinion of every IGN review is the opinion of IGN, the company,
right?
When it's like, it's just an IGN contributor.
Exactly.
Of which there are many, and they have a large variety of opinions about things. There is a fantastic example I would like to give of the differences in reviewers. So there was a video for a podcast made by Tim Rogers that was the top 10 games of all time for the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
And let me find the podcast it's a part of. Top 10 360 games. And he made it basically out of spite. Insert credit podcast. It's the Insert Credit podcast. He made it out of spite because Insert Credit at episode 180. So, years prior, right? Because it's a weekly show. They made for episode 180 the top 10 Xbox games of all time, and it was just a normal episode of them talking about what their top 10 Xbox 360 games of all time are. And Tim Rogers took a bunch of issue with this because his opinion on the top 10 Xbox games of all time was really, really, really different than the opinion of his other fellow podcast hosts on that podcast. And he decided that he would wait until the next most appropriate number to make an episode where he would basically respond to the review results, to the results of their take on the top 10 360 games of all time. And it's just a completely unrecognizably different list. It's just like, I don't know if there's, I think there's no overlap on it at all. And that is that's how it is with reviewers. One guy on your team can have crazy different opinions than the other people on your team. That happens frequently. It's definitely true for us. I have
Yes.
very weird opinions on video games.
Well, I think a perfect example of this is, we do Game of the Year every year, and we have everyone do their top 10 lists, right? Very rarely do we get mirrored top 10 lists. Every now and then we'll get
Yeah.
like me and Anthony had the same top 2, but that doesn't happen that
Right.
often. That's not a common thing that happens. Like I think for example, looking at your list from last year, like no one else had Abiotic Factor or Silksong on their list. Just wasn't there.
Yeah.
Aaron's list,
nobody fucking knows what Abiotic Factor is.
Yeah. No one else had Split Fiction on their list besides Aaron. Like that's just what it was. No one else had Luminous. Like it's everyone has different tastes, and this is what I tell people when it comes to reviewers and reviewing games and even looking at regular content creators. Find someone whose tastes somewhat closely aligned with yours. No one is gonna 100%. So like and it's why like if you watch this show, all 25 to 50 of you, depending on the week. When you watch this show, I would tell people, or listen to this show, in the case of the audio feed people, when I like play a game and I'm like, this fucking sucks, it typically is, there are genres that I favor or don't favor, and things I value in a game or things I don't value in a game. Like, I'm trying to think off the top of my head where it's just like, I really want a game to start quickly. If you have a long prologue or a long build-up, unless your narrative is like 10 out of 10 amazing, I am going to stop giving a fuck. That's it's just what it is, and if you know that about me, you will know that is part of why I didn't particularly care for The Witcher 3. And that's fine. As for the original topic, though, and yes, people go enjoy art and try and form your own opinions on it and really think them through. That's what I would say.
I mean, yeah, I think the greatest thing one can do to enrich themselves is consume a large variety and scope of art. And yeah, you're gonna end up having very different tastes. And I think especially people who consume more art get more different tastes. And
Yes.
there is a sort of bias that you get when you start consuming a large variety of art that other people won't have. Most people don't consume a large variety of art, and that's going to result in a weird disconnect where things that are like super cool to you as a person who consumes a ton of art is not that interesting to someone who consumes some art, because the state of the art that it is a part of is way less relevant to the average person.
Yes, and this is why like I encourage everyone I know to go watch as many films as possible, go play and not just in one genre, as many genres as possible. Go get outside your gaming comfort zone. If you don't like RTSs, go play a couple RTSs. If you don't like fucking cozy games, go play a few cozy games. Like if you don't I have genuinely I don't traditionally like survival games, but I have made attempts, and I'm going to continue to make attempts because I want to wrap my head around them. As an example, I used to, when I was a lot younger, I traditionally did not like horror games, but now I like some horror games. Like I love Resident Evil. I've enjoyed Silent Hill. So yeah, no, it's
I like all kinds of games. I think I've played a really large variety of stuff, and
same.
and I've yet to find a genre that I don't think I could find anything valuable in.
I could say that. Even though I am not the biggest fan in the world of survival games, I have found valuable things in them, and I do like those elements in other games. Like I enjoy the survival elements in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, because it sands off some of the rougher edges of the survival element in those games, but still keeps the cool part.
Yeah.
So anyway, next two news stories, and then we'll probably have to wrap up know what we've been playing this week. Well, I'll do one minor thing because I need to get it out there regarding this particular community.
I do want to very briefly mention the things I played too. I think.
Okay, all right, fine. We'll do what we'll play, but we'll keep it brief. Mixtape. But next news story: Mixtape Studio says the game has no streamer mode because it's licensed music is its soul. Your soul is the one thing you can't compromise. Yeah, I completely agree, and this is a smart call. It's a bummer that like you might get copyright struck, and streamers aren't going to be all about this game. But the literal there are whole giant sections of this game, including the primary levels, are built around specific songs. The whole concept is the day is a perfect mixtape. So yeah, that's I think that putting this game as anything like having a streamer mode or anything like it would effectively ruin the game. So make a worse impression of it. So yeah, good call. I just wanted to touch on that. And last thing is something that I believe will cause a development shakeup in the industry if it actually pans out. Guerrilla Games co-founder and former technical director of Epic Games says he's building a new engine that will offer an European alternative to American tech like Unreal and Unity. Arjan Brussy is an industry veteran who programmed Epic's Jazz Jackrabbit in the 90s before co-founding and leading production at Guerrilla Games in 2003. After co-founding Cliff Bleszinski's now closed Boss Key, Brussy returned to Epic for an 8-year stint in roles including Global Director of Product Management for Unreal Engine. Now back in the Netherlands as a free agent, he's claiming he's building a new European game engine, the Immense Engine, which he says will offer a rare alternative to American and Chinese engines in the market. No one is currently making an engine that is fully European hosted, built by Europeans, and complies with European rules and guidelines, he told Dutch podcast Day Technologue. Creating 3D worlds is becoming increasingly important, certainly for purposes other than just gaming, he added, noting that by being European, the Immense Engine could be used for 3D simulations in defense or logistics. Notably, Guerrilla co-founder says sees an opportunity for a game engine based on new construction principles with the full integration of AI.
Yeah, there's a ton of room in the market for someone other than Unity or Unreal to be, making a good platform for game development. I think that's good. I like that.
Yeah, I think this is great. I think that Unreal is kind of a bloated mess right now, as we've talked about many a time. I think that there's a lot of things that they can improve upon. So yeah, I'm kind of all about this. This is really just good news all around, as far as I'm concerned. I would love to see. I've been a big believer in in-house engines for a while, but I understand people don't want to put up with the cost and the risk involved with that. We saw Frostbite bite EA in the ass. Capcom.
Yeah, I mean, they're very, very hard to make.
Yeah, so I understand why they don't do it, but I do see it as a beneficial thing. But the alternative of having more engines out there for devs to choose from, and also having competition to keep things more affordable in the industry, is always good.
I think Capcom is a great example, though, of someone who's like really taken advantage of having a good in-house engine.
Oh yes, 100%.
With the RE engine. Like, if you pull it off, it is great in the long run. It's just really fucking hard to make an engine.
Yeah.
It's very complicated.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's all the news for the week. Nice. All right, on to what we've been playing. I'm gonna do mine real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, go for it. I was just gonna say, I'll go. Mine or yours is what I was gonna ask.
Okay. Well, let me get this over with real quick.
Or Emily's, if you have anything you wanted to bring up.
I don't have anything. I didn't play anything this week.
So, first off, I played a bunch of Invincible Bursts through the week, in between bouts of stomach issues. All right, I need to have a talk with this community before I get to my other games that I have nice things to say about. Most of the people playing this game that I've run into, y'all are bitch made. You are 100% bitch made. I am so tired of getting a 1 or 2 character lead, or them being down to their last character at like 3/4 health and then them quitting. You are, if you do not play the full map, I'm not even asking for a full set. Like if you wanna loss quit or win quit after 1, it's a little annoying, but I understand. But if you do not even finish the match, you are 100% bitch made. That is all I have to say.
You gotta play it out.
Like, play it out. You don't know. I could choke. I could choke super bad. You don't know. So yeah. Otherwise, game plays well. It's just that I do think that its lack of good teaching tools or single player content is making it so the Invincible fans who came in for the Invincible part of it are kind of leaving in droves. When I check,
Invincible to me is often called white people DBZ. So would you call this white people Dragon Ball FighterZ?
No, I don't think it plays like Dragon Ball FighterZ. I'd say it probably plays closer to Killer Instinct meets Small vs. Capcom. But yeah, like it's definitely like this just, I don't know. I think that the core gameplay there is really, really good. I just think the presentation isn't where it needs to be, and the lack of modes and whatnot isn't where it needs to be, which is kind of making it so it peaked at 8,400 on Steam. It is now down to 2,000 a day, roughly, losing 3/4 of its player base over the course of 2 weeks. Kind of rough going, so... I played some Diablo 4 Lord of Hatred, got about halfway through the campaign.
How was it?
It's pretty fucking good. This is the most I've been invested in one of the stories for Diablo 4 yet. I really like what they have going on with Mephisto and this whole false prophet thing. The core gameplay is really fun. I do think that balancing is kind of fucked. Mainly because, so we started the game on Torment 2 because we played through the last expansion on, it's the difficulty before the Torments because that's as high as it would let us, and we kind of just blew through the game. Like I was just like, we were just kind of spacing out, killing shit automatically. Right. But this one allows you to start on the Torment, so we started at Torment 2. But we didn't realize is that if you're starting at a Torment level, they're expecting your character to be level 70. Our characters were level 60. So,
I see.
But the way the scaling in the game works is we were doing way more damage than you would expect for our level, but we were also getting like 2 shot by anything. So like we're melting these bosses in like 2 seconds, but we literally have to dodge every attack or can't get hit by their attacks or we will die automatically. Until we hit level 70, where now Torment 2 feels like a normal challenge. Like it feels like a normal video game again. And we hit that a little bit before the halfway mark. So
is Mephisto running the same fucking playbook where he is making a false religious leader and then getting a religious movement secretly underneath his thumb that he's going to corrupt from the inside? Is he doing that again?
So he's doing that again, but slightly different. So he has basically made a new religious leader. Like he found a dude and turned him into a prophet, and then he went to the Amazon aisle and was like, yo, I'm a prophet. Watch me heal things and basically be Jesus.
Damn, yeah, he's just running it back. But he's just got like, well, I fucked up. I obviously I can't use the same religious group again, so I have to make one now.
Yep. So
that's funny.
But it's still a good story. It's still a fun time. Yeah. So they've actually had some pretty cool cutscenes. I've been having fun with the character. I've been having fun playing it with my girlfriend. I'm hoping that we can squeeze some time in this week to play a bunch. Hopefully, I don't catch a stomach virus again and get real sick.
Yeah. I
Then,
hope the same for myself.
uh, and then last but not least is I played mixtape.
Nice.
I played
That's we have
mixtape.
talked a lot about. It's apparently great.
Yeah, I'll explain what it is because the people. So basically, the concept is it's you play as Stacy Rockford, who is part of a group of 3 friends, and it is her last day in her hometown in like Northern California, and she is like obsessed with music. And you go on this journey through the day of your last day, and each section of it is set to a particular song on her perfect day mixtape. And
Ooh.
it's it's kind of a real Wes Anderson coming of age story type thing.
Yeah.
And it kind of hits all the kind of the tropes in that, but it's set to really goddamn good music, and it has fantastic art, and sometimes it goes into these like surreal dreamscape things. So it'll go ahead and like you'll be driving to the party towards the end of the game, and uh you know like they're making the fireworks explode, but not really, and all the cars are flying and shit. Very very surrealist dreamscape stuff that happens, and it happens more and more as you go through the game. Yeah, it's a good story. It's incredibly charming. The characters are likable. The music fucking rules, and I feel like if you are someone who was a teenager, I that was person who was a teenager in the 80s, 90s, or even the 2000s, this game is gonna have a profound effect on you, most likely.
Yeah.
It very much had some flashbacks of me and the homies sneaking out to the Wendy's at 1 in the morning when I was in high school. So
Yeah. I was a teenager in the 2010s. So
So did your friends not sneak out, go to Wendy's and drink?
no, we just went to Wendy's. There was no sneaking required.
Yeah, but sometimes you want to go to Wendy's at 1 in the morning.
We would just do that then.
Oh yeah, your parents were cool.
My parents are cool. They would let me do whatever.
Eh.
And all my other friends' parents weren't there. They were at my house.
Yeah, the cool parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, my mom was pretty cool. I got away with a lot of shit, but even then, like, there were definite moments where like she had some stuff on lockdown.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's fairly short, but it's also cheap. It's about a 3 to 3.5 hours, but the game's only $18 right now. So kind of pretty cheap. If you want 100% it, you're probably looking at 2 playthroughs, so you might be able to get 6 hours out of it. So yeah.
That's good.
Currently,
Well,
one of my
I
two front
played.
runners for Game of the Year. Go ahead.
That's good.
Yes. Go.
I played two things that won't take much time to cover. I played Carrion Combo Warriors. 2 weeks ago when I was on the show, I mentioned how cool Carrion Combo Warriors was, and then I went, "Oh yeah, it is cool." And I've never played the Carrion Combo Warriors mod with Elden Ring's DLC. And so I decided to get back in. I have yet to get to the DLC content. I've been going through everything else first, but Carry Combo Warriors is really, really good. It's I bring it up as it's DMC5 uh in Elden Ring. And when I say that, I don't mean like it's kind of like DMC5. I mean like the katana move set is you're playing Virgil now.
All right,
Oh.
can I install another mod where Barry the Light plays when I fight bosses?
Absolutely you can do that.
Hell yeah.
That is totally doable. But yeah, the katana moveset is Virgil. The fist moveset is I think the weapons that are in DMC5. Like,
Okay.
uh, there are a number of movesets that aren't even really related to DMC5 though, but are like in the same vein, right? They're not like straight rip from it, but they're action game movesets. The twin blades is one of them. Then they also have curved great swords, straight swords, and the colossal swords and great swords. All of those have fully new movesets. And when we're talking new movesets, we're talking. Hold on, let me count the number of moves on just one weapon. It is. Hold on, I have it up here in a tab. Let's see. Carrying combo warriors. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47 moves.
Jesus
There's
Christ.
47 moves for the katana. And you know, all of those, of course, are based on like sequences and changing the sequence midway to change to a different move, and you know, doing lights and then stance switching. And it's it's DMC. It's how DMC plays, but you're playing Elden Ring. You're in the same open world. It's the same items. It's the same look. It's the same bosses. Everything else just is the same. And as it turns out, Elden Ring was already a game pretty well disposed to DMC's moveset. It is also a sort of action game, obviously one of a lot lower pace and such. But if you think about the enemies in DMC, they're actually also much lower pace than you are in that game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like outside of the bosses, they're a joke.
Yeah, and you look at if you look at a DMC boss and you look at a DMC enemy and then you look at an Elden Ring boss, they're actually like really similar.
Depending on the one. Yeah.
Depending on the one, but like even the bosses, I'm like, you know, they actually have like a lot of like that same sort of move variety, and like you could kind of feel the same vibe. And that's what led to Carrying Combo Warriors being made, is basically someone was like, I want to be able to make those DMC like edit videos where someone makes a video of them killing a DMC boss in a really cool way. They just wanted to be able to make that in Elden Ring. And it's made by this solo Chinese dev who hasn't supported it for a long time, but community support has kind of kept it updated. And it's just fucking awesome. It's just really cool. The only thing that might be a negative for you is, I mean, not for you specifically, but for people in general, it makes the game so unbelievably easy. Even the hardest bosses in the game, you're going in and you're obliterating them to the point where they actually modded one of the talismans to make you super weak, so that you can have boss fights that last a long enough time for you to get those full interesting combos off on them. And then there's also an enhanced version that I'm not playing, that I played a smidge of, that makes it even crazier, adds even more shit to the game, you know, changes a bunch of the cosmetics, but also makes the game like unplayably difficult. And that's Carrying Combo Warriors Enhanced. That is also very popular, and it's been great. It's been great, and I highly recommend experiencing this version of the game to anyone who is, you know, if you like Elden Ring and you want a kind of fresh version of it. It's cool to be able to fly in Elden Ring. They have infinite flight with certain weapons, like the Twin Blades has a move on it that you can just fly forever with, and it lets you explore the game in a really different way. It lets you sequence break things in a fun way too. It's cool. It's a really cool mod.
Okay.
Then the other game I played,
I was just about to ask, and then what? I was gonna say, sounds neat. I don't know if I will have time to run through Elden Ring again, but you know, I might check it out. It sounds.
It does also seem to make the game much faster.
I would assume.
You know, you're just breezing through things. You don't really need to level up much because you're kind of already strong enough.
Fair.
The other game I played was Gambling with Friends. I got 3 buddies together and we bought Gambling with Friends. It's a nice little $8 indie game. I believe published. Is it published by Ludwig's studio, the streamer? Let's see.
I mean, that would make sense considering he's all about the Gamba. So
yeah, it's I believe it was made by them. The same people behind Rivals of Aether. No, it's not. It's not at all. I was just wrong.
Okay.
It's made by a group called Team GWYF, which is just, they exist specifically for this game. I guess this is their first release. And the company is 10 Stack. And 10 Stack has made a number of other really small indie games. Looking at their library here, they have Pullback Racers, Little Wings Deliveries, Crimsaw, Jazz Out, Bananum, The Citizen, Mini Zen Garden, and Rain Runner. And this seems to be their first real big breakout among those. And it is very simple in premise. You're in a casino and you need to make a certain amount of money more than you have. So you start with $1,000 on day one and you need to make $1,200. So you go into the casino and there's various casino games, and you get tickets every time you do a day. You also have a little side objective that'll be like, win a game of blackjack with by hitting on a 15, right?
I
Or no,
see.
win a game of blackjack with a hand that is 15 or lower, right? So you have to count on the dealer to bust, right? And you get tickets in response for that, and those give you little consumables that you can spend them on, as well as cosmetics. And those consumables can be used to do something like make you make 50% more money anytime you win, or make it so that while a little statue is being held by a player, you can't lose for a very short period of time, right? And so you're supposed to leverage these items to be able to make your quota, because obviously if you're playing the game just straight, you're going to lose because it's just gambling and the odds are absolutely not in your favor. If you're playing blackjack, you're gonna lose money at the same rate as you playing blackjack in real life. So the odds aren't different, and that means that if you're not using items and coming up with strategies, you're gonna lose. It's just not possible to win in the long run. You could get really lucky, of course, but it's if you want to make a long run, you have to kind of figure out these items and try and create positive EV, expected value. And that was interesting. And importantly, you don't need to think about the strategy of that fucking at all. All of my friends were just leaving the making money part to me and just gambling. And it was plenty of fun.
Sounds like an
I think
actual
it's
trip
great.
to Vegas.
Yeah. They have a really fun gimmick on their opening screen when you launch the game. If you launch the game, anytime you launch the game, it presents you a question. It says, "Are you feeling lucky? Yes or no?" And if you say yes, you have to flip a coin, and the game will not launch unless you win that coin flip.
All right.
The game closes itself if you fail the coin flip to launch the game.
All right.
This is a fun thing it does. So it's a good little game.
It's a nice little more of the party game category there.
Yep, right? Very much classically friend slop. And it's like, yeah, why did nobody else make a gambling friend slop game?
Good question. Also, I forgot to mention this. Mina the Hollower finally has a release date. I'm excited for that.
That's good.
Yeah. Anyway,
but that's all I played this week.
Sick. All right, guys. Thank you. This has been an extra long show because we had a lot of news. Hopefully next week we'll go back to the normal 2.5 to 3 hours.
Ideally so.
Bye, guys. We love you.
Bye, everybody.